Thank you, John. Happy New Year and welcome everyone to sunny Orlando on a Chamber of Commerce day with the temperature in the low 70s and hardly a cloud in the sky as Penn State takes on Auburn in the Capital One Bowl. Hello, everyone, and welcome. Delighted to have you with us as we ring in the new year. It seems as though order has been restored to the college football universe as Penn State returns to bowl action after a 2-year hiatus. It's the only time in 37 years under Joe Paterno that the Nittany Lions were not in a bowl game 2 years in a row. But they're back with a record of 9-3 and a season that really could have been a little bit better, as all 3 of their losses were by a touchdown or less, 2 of them rather controversial in overtime. I'm joined by David Norrie, and David, when we talk about the bounce back year of Penn State, the headliner was Larry Johnson.
Yeah, they've been playing football for over 100 years in the Big Ten Conference. It's always been 3 yards in a cloud of dust. Bo Schembechler, Woody Hayes, but no tailback had ever gone over 2,000 yards in a single season. That is until Larry Johnson this year. And he was on fire down the stretch, averaging over 230 yards per game in his last 6 games. Against Michigan State, he was a man among boys, and this was the run that took him over 2,000 yards.
It's also been a season of surpassed expectations for Auburn. They struggled down the stretch last season, changed both offensive and defensive coordinators. This year, 8-4, and a lot of close calls for them as well. 3 of their 4 losses were by a touchdown or less. They're a team that can run the ball, too.
I think they're the most underrated team in the country, Sean. They took USC and Georgia down to the final minute. They beat a couple top 10 teams, and with all the publicity that Larry Johnson got coming into this game, Ronnie Brown for Auburn is the best tailback in the Southeast Conference.
And the Tigers come in having won 4 of their last 5. Here comes John Finneran, Executive Vice President and General Counsel for Capital One, onto the field to flip the coin. We'll have the kickoff from Orlando in a moment.
Still doing those bills, hon?
Just wrestling with a credit card balance. You've been feeding on those high interest rates.
I just switched our balance over to a Capital One no-hassle card. We're gonna save $500 a year.
$500?
Switch your high-interest balance to the Capital One no-hassle card for the nation's lowest long-term fixed rates. You could save up to $500 a year.
What's in your wallet?
Okay, guys, get this bird put away and we're done for the day.
With a new available Power Stroke diesel, 5-speed automatic torque shift transmission, and the most torque and horsepower of any diesel pickup, F-Series Super Duty goes way beyond just getting the job done. F-Series, the best-selling truck on the planet, is built Ford tough.
A sellout crowd on hand inside the Florida Citrus Bowl for the 57th Capital One Bowl. Formerly the Citrus Bowl, now the Capital One Bowl. Joe Paterno in his 32nd bowl game, already the all-time leader with 20 bowl victories, opposed by Tommy Tuberville, who talked yesterday about what a thrill it is, an honor to coach against a legend like Joe Paterno in a bowl game. He's in his 4th season as head coach at Auburn. Penn State won the toss and deferred, so Auburn will receive the opening kickoff, and Roderick Hood, a dangerous return man, will receive the kickoff from David Kimball. Kimball, a junior from State College, Pennsylvania. Park and Recreation Management major at Penn State, and we're underway. Low line drive kick, and it takes a high hop over the head of Roderick Hood. And he elects not to run it out. Let's check in down on the field with the 3rd member of our broadcast team, Mike Mayock.
Thank you, Sean. You know, when you're talking about running the football, Larry Johnson gets all the attention, and justifiably so. But at Auburn, they're getting it done a different way, and that's by committee. They started the season off with Cadillac Williams. He gained over 700 yards until he had a broken leg. Then in comes Ronnie Brown. He becomes an all-SEC performer. He gets hurt. They go with true freshman Trey Smith, who rushes for 100 yards against Alabama. And Sean, they totaled 2,013 yards, 2 different than LJ. And you know what? It doesn't matter how you get it done as long as you get it done.
And both teams have been getting it done on the ground. Jason Campbell goes to the air. on the first play from scrimmage, and there is a flag down. The completion goes to the 25 if it stands to Jarris McIntyre, who was tackled by Sean Mayer. It's a Big East officiating crew led by Jack Kramer, and the indication of face mask penalty against Auburn. Jason Campbell, the big reason why Auburn finished the regular season with a flourish. He was the starter for the last 5 games. They went 4-1 in those 5. He's a sophomore from Taylorsville, Mississippi, and a very accurate thrower. 64% this year, 63% for his career, best in Auburn history.
And make no mistake about it, the Penn State defensive coaching staff has been watching plenty of film on this Auburn offense, and they see the way that this Auburn offense has run the football over the course of the year. And Jason Campbell's going to have to come out early against this talented defensive front and show the Nittany Lions that he can throw the ball down the football field.
High formation after the 10-yard walk-off. 1st and 20, and Campbell appears to be changing the play. 2 wide receivers to his right. And the deep handoff to Ronnie Brown. He's in trouble and manages to gain a yard. Sean Mayer again up to make the stop with help from the middle linebacker Gino Capone. The Capital One starting lineup on offense for the Tigers of Auburn. Brandon Johnson, a very physical and talented fullback. Robert Johnson, emerging threat at receiver as the tight end. Marcel Willis is their leading receiver. And the offensive line anchored by the senior Ben Nowland, first team all Southeastern Conference this year. 2nd down and 19, and a play action pass for Campbell. He pulls it down and lost the football as he went down at the 15-yard line. And Penn State has it. Will they rule it a recovery? Yes, they will. Derek Wake recovered the fumble.
Well, Jason Campbell has been so great late in the season, making decisions to pull the football down in the backfield, pick up yards with his feet. The ball clearly came loose before his knee hits the ground. And Penn State with a big turnover early.
Anthony Adams and Gino Capone both nearby as Campbell put it on the ground. Both teams improved this year in turnover margin. Both were in the plus column, a reason why they improved over their performances of a year ago. With an early turnover by Auburn. And now the quick pass to Michael Robinson from Zach Mills. Robinson, a multi-purpose player. He's lined up at quarterback, at running back, slot receiver, and wide receiver. Zach Mills is their quarterback. Sophomore from Hinesville, Maryland. Passed for 2,350 yards this year. That's a sophomore record at Penn State. He set the freshman passing record last year for yardage. And they've had some good quarterbacks at Penn State over the years, including Todd Blackledge, who's here today to cheer on his alma mater. Quarterback draw. Mills taken down inside the 5 by Travaris Robinson, the safety. Good for a 1st down, 1st and goal for Penn State. Trying to capitalize on the turnover. The rest of the offense around Mills. The brilliant Johnson. They'll alternate at fullback. Paul Jefferson with Sean McHugh. Casey Williams, the tight end. The Johnsons, Bryant and Tony, the wide receivers. And up front, a veteran offensive line. 4 seniors and the junior McKelvey. It was a beleaguered group last year, much maligned. That offensive line much better this year. Another reason why Penn State is 9-3. Larry Johnson lined up behind Paul Jefferson in the eye. And the play clock has run out. That's what Zach Mills was pointing at, and he might have brought attention of the officials to that fact and drawn a penalty, because after the official in the back of the end zone turned around and saw that clock, he dropped his flag on the field while Mills was pointing at the clock. But I think Zach's point is they never reset the clock.
Yeah, and also Zach Mills was trying to get the officials' attention on a timeout if in fact that 25-second clock was ready to expire. Looks like they got it reset now.
There is no penalty on the play.
There is no penalty on the play. Tommy Tuberville doesn't like that call. tells James Coleman, the side judge.
Well, it is a critical call. Tommy Tuberville fighting for yards. It's a vastly different play calling situation if you have the ball first and goal on the 10 as opposed to the 5.
So still first and goal from the 4. The pitch to Johnson. And he stopped near the line of scrimmage. Johnson has scored at least 1 touchdown in every game this year. 23 touchdowns, 20 of them on the ground. In addition to all of his other accomplishments this year, he's 3rd in the nation in scoring at 11.6 points per game. He was tackled by Auburn's leading tackler, Mark Brown.
And you talk about an amazing emergence. And Larry Johnson came into this season as a good tailback on paper and ended the season as the best tailback to ever play at Penn State for Joe Paterno.
Again, the eye with Jefferson lined up in front of Johnson. Play action pass. They had 2 tight ends in the game. And the pass is over the head of the fullback, Paul Jefferson. And it'll be 3rd down and goal from the 4. The Auburn defense up front, Edens, McNeil, Johnson, and Torbor. Excellent linebackers with Mark Brown, their leading tackler, between Carlos Dansby and Dontarius Thomas. And in the secondary, an all-conference safety in Travaris Robinson. Hood and Rogers, the corners, and Rose Green, the other safety. 3rd down and goal from the 4. 3 wide receivers. Quarterback draw again. Mills in trouble. Now bounces outside and is pulled down to the line of scrimmage. Good open field tackle by Roderick Hood. Because once Mills bounced outside, it looked like he might find the end zone. Hood, the only defender out there, and then he made the tackle around the legs.
And Carlos Dansby, the talented outside linebacker, number 11, gets caught inside here. And Roderick Hood is going to save the day for Dansby. And that's a great play. Shoestring tackle. This Auburn defense is as fast a defense as this Penn State team has seen all year.
Good work by the Auburn defense, forcing a field goal try by Robbie Gold, and it's from a tough angle from the right hash mark from just 21 yards. He's a sophomore from Lock Haven, Pennsylvania. 14 out of 18 in field goals this year, movement and flags. And also, the play clock had run down to 0.
Delay. Offense.
If I was Auburn, I would turn this down, David, and Tommy Tuberville's going to do that. Leave it where it is and keep it at that tough angle.
And that's an interesting call. That's some advanced game strategy. They're on the right hash. And the tighter yard to the goal line, the more severe the angle, obviously.
Yeah, it's an easier kick from 26 yards, you would think, from this angle, from the hash mark. Chris Ganter is the holder. He's a backup quarterback. David Kimball snaps. Gold, a former walk-on, now a scholarship kicker at Penn State. And he's right down the middle with that one. The Auburn turnover results in 3 points for the Nittany Lions early in the first quarter in Orlando.
With its new available Power Stroke diesel and 5-speed automatic torque shift transmission that generates 560 pound-feet of torque and 325 horsepower, the Ford F-Series Super Duty pulls faster and easier than any other diesel pickup. Ford F-Series, the best-selling truck on the planet.
Well, guess that settles that. Yep.
It's built Ford tough.
It's the most wonderful time of the year.
All season we waited, our faces are painted, the playoffs are here. It's the most wonderful time of the year. With Super Bowl dreaming and cheerleaders screaming, big blazing cold beer.
It's the most wonderful time of the year. It's the playoffs.
Triple X, buy it on DVD.
Dangerous, unsafe.
civilized. I love his attitude.
From the director of The Fast and the Furious.
Let's take this to the next level.
The ultimate extreme DVD. Packed with special features.
I live for this.
Vin Diesel is Triple X. Buy it now on DVD. How far would you go?
How can you do that?
To uncover the truth.
What is with you and all these secrets, Dad? Who's after my father?
What the hell are you doing?
This father and son will stop at nothing, no matter what the cost. Veritas, The Quest. Monday, January 27th on ABC.
Tremendous enthusiasm here in Orlando. Both schools sold out their allotment of 12,000 tickets and called the Capital One Bowl folks to ask for more tickets. And both wound up selling close to 14,000 tickets. And who knows how many other fans from these two schools purchased tickets directly through the bowl people themselves or by telephone.
These two teams have always had great spirit, and all you need to do is take a trip to State College or Auburn, Alabama for a football game.
Good kickoff, and Trey Smith will down it. And for the second time in as many possessions, Auburn will begin at the 20 against a very talented defense for Penn State, particularly up front. One of the best front fours in the nation, led by the seniors, all conference players, all Adams, Kennedy, and Haynes. Haynes, the Big Ten Defensive Player of the Year. The linebackers are Capone between Lamar Stewart and Derek Wake. And in the secondary, Sean Mayer is the team's leading tackler with 139. That's 59 more tackles than any other Nittany Lion. They've had a lot of injuries in the defensive backfield, but have dealt with those well. Ronnie Brown out to the 24 for a pickup of 4. Gino Capone chopped him down. Brown's a sophomore from Cartersville, Georgia. And as Mike Mayock said, he became the #1 tailback when Carnell Williams fractured his left fibula in the second quarter of the game at Florida, the 7th game of the year. Brown outstanding since, although he did not play in the regular season finale against Alabama with an ankle injury. Trey Smith stepped in for him and rushed for 126 yards. It doesn't seem to matter who the tailback is. It's Brown again trying to bounce outside, and he's driven back at the 28-yard line by Sean Mayer and Brian Scott.
And Sean, you mentioned the defensive front for the Penn State Nittany Lions, and when you talk about numbers, 48.5 tackles behind the line of scrimmage between Adams, Kennedy, and Haynes. And you figure coming into this football game, Auburn might not have a lot of success on the ground. Taking a look at the Penn State numbers there, but Auburn coaching staff said, hey, we went up against Georgia and Alabama in the final 2 games of the season. We had 100-yard rushers in both those football games.
Campbell throws, first down. Devin Aroma should do. One of the true freshman wide receivers. They have 3 true freshmen who see a lot of action at wideout. And he took the ball out to the 40-yard line. They'll mark it at the 41. The gain of 14 and a first down for the Tigers.
When Auburn went out to Los Angeles in their opener against USC, they started 2 true freshmen. Aroma Shadu and Obamanu. Talk about a baptism by fire.
A very young Auburn team. They're already looking forward with great enthusiasm the next year. Movement looked like Penn State was offside, and the pass batted down by Michael Haynes. That might have been a freebie for Auburn, as there was movement along the left side of the defensive line. Looked like it might have been Jimmy Kennedy.
Offside. Defense. 5-yard penalty. Still first down.
Coming up next, the Bowl Championship Series kicks off on ABC. Oklahoma takes on Washington State in the Rose Bowl, presented by PlayStation 2. And tonight at 8:30 Eastern, it's Georgia and Florida State in the Nokia Sugar Bowl. The BCS. It's underway next on ABC Sports Championship Television. We have both tailbacks in the game now, Trey Smith and Ronnie Brown. They sent Smith out into motion. And out of the shotgun, Campbell with the inside handoff to Brown. He's across midfield. And down near the Penn State 49, tackled by Lamar Stewart.
As our partner Mike Mayock mentioned in the open, Trey Smith, a great game in the Iron Bowl Classic against Alabama, went over 100 yards. Ronnie Brown over 100 yards against Georgia, and they'll line both of these tailbacks up in the same backfield, typically in passing situations, but occasionally they'll use their counter run game as they did on that last play.
One of the changes with the new offensive coordinator this year, Bobby Petrino, a lot more two-back offense. They have a very good fullback, Brandon Johnson. They want to take advantage of him. He was trying to lead the way that time, but could not. Lamar Stewart made the stop on Brown right at the line of scrimmage. And it'll be 3rd down and 1 for Auburn, nearly midway through the first quarter. There's Bobby Petrino coaching his last game at Auburn. A couple of weeks ago, he was named the head coach at Louisville. He's a former assistant at Louisville under John L. Smith. Went to the NFL, the Jacksonville Jaguars, for 3 years with Tom Coughlin. Came here to Auburn for 1 year. Was put in a scheme that Tommy Tuberville likes so much. He says it doesn't matter who I hire to replace him. We're going to use that Bobby Petrino system. And on 3rd and 1, they pick up the first down. Brown, again, tackled by Lamar Stewart. Yesterday, Coach Tuberville talked about the departure of Petrino.
I'm not going to put Jason Campbell and the rest of our offense through another change. We need to keep consistent. It fits our personnel. We know it now. We're going to keep running the same things, and we'll just have a coach come in and adapt to what we've been doing.
So it's quite possible they'll promote from within their coaching staff and just add a quarterback coach to come in and work with the quarterbacks. Heavy pressure and a sack. Anthony Adams, the senior from Detroit, nicknamed Spice because he has a lot of personality, brings a certain flair to this Penn State program, and he threw down Campbell for a loss of 9.
Anthony Adams has not gotten enough credit this season. I mean, he's done a great job from his inside position. Yesterday at the banquet, Sean, he came up to us, he introduced himself to us and said, "Hi, I'd like to introduce myself. I'm number 98." On that last play, an introduction to Jason Campbell as well.
He's also one of the stylish dressers on the team. Campbell trying to set up a screen, and it is caught by Brown. But Penn State's ready for it. There was a clear hold by Monrico Crittenden along the near sideline. That's why you heard the Penn State fans screaming. He got away with it. Derek Wake and Rich Gardner combined to make the tackle. Crittenden had a pretty good grasp on one of the Penn State defenders and didn't get flagged for it.
Now, obvious might be an understatement. That's not just one hand, that's 2 hands full of jersey. And working against Derek Wake.
3rd down and 18. Auburn at its own 46. Trailing 3-0 here in the first quarter. Man wide open in the flat, and Campbell missed him. Brandon Johnson did not have a Nittany Lion within 10 yards. And the pass was a little bit high and away. Johnson couldn't corral it, and the Tigers will punt.
Now, Jason Campbell in obvious passing situations is not as comfortable as when he is in a play action situation. And when he comes to a second or a third choice, as he did with Johnson as big fullback, not quite as accurate. And that'll come along as he matures and gets more coaching, and that's going to be one of the big prerequisites for that new offensive coordinator, Sean, is a guy who can coach quarterback technique and fundamentals.
Excellent nose-up spiral punt by Damon Duval, but it takes a hard bounce and goes into the end zone. It's a 54-yard punt, but the ball will come out to the 20. 3-0 Penn State in the first quarter at the Capital One Bowl.
Get going, America. Start believing. Start living. Get into a new Ford again, America's #1 choice, and start moving.
Trying to quit smoking? According to the labels, Nicorette gum can be used whenever you need it, day or night. Nicotrol's patch can only be worn for 16 hours. So much for flexibility. Nicorette helps you quit, one craving at a time.
Welcome to the Capital One All-America Mascot Pageant with ESPN's Kenny Mayne and Trey Wingo.
Polyester and proud, mascots of America.
Stay tuned for the exciting competition.
If you had but one wish, what would it be? World peace.
Go to CapitalOneBowl.com to vote for your favorite mascot to win the National Mascot of the Year scholarship.
What's in your wallet?
Now there's a better way to soothe your skin after shaving. Nivea for Men Aftershave Balm has advanced moisturizers and vitamins to soothe and improve your skin. Nivea for Men. More evolved skincare.
The Capital One Bowl. This ABC Sports exclusive presentation brought to you by Capital One. What's in your wallet? Ford F-Series Super Duty with the all-new Power Stroke Diesel. Gatorade Thirst Quencher. Gatorade, is it in you? And Nivea for Men Aftershave Balm. More evolved skincare.
Welcome back to Orlando and the Capital One Bowl. Penn State leading 3-0. They capitalized on an Auburn fumble to kick a field goal on their first possession. Now starting from their own 20, and Zach Mills changes the play with 3 wide receivers and Larry Johnson alone back. Under duress, he throws it away. Reggie Torbor bringing the pressure. Let's head back to our studios. Here's John Saunders.
Florida trailing Michigan, Sean, and Rex Grossman goes back to do what he likes to do best, and that's throw the ball 33 yards to Kewan Ratliff. Gets it at the goal line, in for the touchdown. Florida regains the lead over Michigan, 23-21. Notre Dame and NC State. NC State is the only touchdown of the game after a Notre Dame field goal, 7-3. Sean.
And here in Orlando, another SEC Big Ten battle. Quick pass by Mills to the tight end, Casey Williams. Of course, Michigan will finish its game against Florida before we're finished here, and they're trying to keep the Big Ten perfect in this bowl season. Already 3-0, the Big Ten Conference in bowl games this year with 3 upset winners.
Yeah, great showing so far for the Big Ten Conference, and it's always interesting to see how the conferences match up against each other in postseason play. Remember 2 years ago in this very same game, Auburn went up against Michigan, and of course it was that talented offense. Drew Henson at quarterback, the A-Train at tailback, Terrell on the outside, and 4 offensive linemen for the Wolverines went on the next year to play in the NFL.
On 3rd down and 4, the late pitch to Johnson, and he slips down for loss. Forrest Willis, the cornerback, nearby, but Johnson lost his footing. Just the second carry for Larry Johnson for -2 yards so far. Sean McDonough, David Norrie, and Mike Mayock in Orlando. Second meeting all time between Auburn and Penn State. They met in the Outback Bowl in 1996, and Penn State won the game. We saw Johnson slip down. It's a beautiful day, but it was quite a night from Mother Nature to ring in the new year. Torrential rains, thunder and lightning overnight. Several inches of rain fell here in central Florida. And the field appears to be in pretty good shape. David Royer will punt for the Nittany Lions. Roderick Hood, an excellent return man. He's been a little fumble prone. And he's down at the 49. Straight ahead speed from Hood. Paul Jefferson made the tackle. A 43-yard punt and a 16-yard return.
What have you been up to, Mr. Moneybags?
It's okay. I put it on the credit card.
Those interest charges are going to get us.
Don't worry. It's our new Capital One No Hassle card.
The Capital One No Hassle card has the nation's lowest long-term fixed rates, $0 fraud liability, and no telemarketing.
What's in your wallet?
Okay, guys, get this bird put away and we're done for the day.
With a new available Power Stroke diesel, 5-speed automatic torque shift transmission, and the most torque and horsepower of any diesel pickup, F-Series Super Duty goes way beyond just getting the job done. F-Series, the best-selling truck on the planet, is built Ford tough.
Hey, if your parents get divorced, who gets the fish? Dude, your sister's hot.
That's not cool. Hey, man. Check this out.
Cool. Is it loaded?
Nah.
This is the Capital One Bowl.
Welcome back to Orlando. 3-0 Penn State. There's an injured player on the field for Auburn in Terrius Williams, a backup linebacker and special teams player. They've brought the cart out on the field to take him off. They're looking at his left leg. While they check on Antarius, let's head down to the field to Mike Mayock.
Hey, Sean, just a couple of minutes ago, you made reference to the field and how much rain we had last night. Actually, you wouldn't even know it rained here. It's such a quick track, and Tommy Tuberville told me before the game he was concerned it might be too quick, and he's trying to tell his players to throttle it down and watch for the Larry Johnson cutback. The bigger issue is the wind. It's pretty consistent between 20 and 30 miles per hour, and I think you can ask David Nari, the biggest problem for a quarterback is wind. It's not rain.
Yeah, it's always difficult. The situation as you see the flags up at the top of the stadium dropping back and trying to keep a ball together, spiral to keep its ballistics for you. And rain, wind, much more so than even snow, the enemy of a quarterback in the passing game.
Well, they have Antarius Williams on the chair now, and they're ready to wheel him off. Auburn takes over at midfield. 8-4 the Tigers, but you mentioned it. Took USC out in LA in the season opener in the last minute. Should have won at Florida. They had a 23-yard field goal in the last minute of the game that would have, in all likelihood, won that game blocked on a very low kick by Damon Duval. And then against Georgia, all they had to do was knock down a 4th down and 15 pass. Went for a touchdown for Georgia as the Bulldogs rallied in the last seconds to win that game.
And if they win against Georgia, they win all 3 games against top 10 opponents this season. I mean, Tommy Tuberville's team is loaded, and Penn State knows it coming into this one.
5-man rush after Jason Campbell. His throw a little high, but could have been caught by Silas Daniels, a sophomore back in his home state. Silas is from Jacksonville. Shaking his head, he realizes he should have come up with that one.
Well, Silas Daniels was open on a curl route. The ball was thrown high. Not a very good ball from Jason Campbell. And if you don't have a perfect delivery in this wind, then the error is going to really be larger on a throw. You've got to really tone and hone in on your throwing game from the pocket with the wind.
The option. Dan Campbell stopped for a loss of a yard by Derek Tolles, a junior from Warren, Ohio. An excellent player. The problem is that he's limited to about 30 to 35 snaps typically per game. He has a rare enzyme disorder that is closely monitored by the medical staff, for which there is no cure. And as a result, he can only play about 30 or 35 plays, sometimes less on a warm day like today.
And both teams like to use the option. Zach Mills and Jason Campbell, both quarterbacks having a nice gift to get outside and dish the ball off.
On 3rd and long, Campbell's pass incomplete. Intended for Ben Obamanu. He got drilled, and now a late flag. Chris Harrell laid him out. The hit looked to be okay, but perhaps the celebration warranted the flag, as the flag was a little late.
Well, Obamanu is going to go back and have a brief chat with his quarterback, Jason Campbell. This was a quarterback leading a wide receiver into a hard spot.
Well, it is a personal foul, so apparently it was a blow-up around the head of Obamanu.
Crossing route, Obamanu at 1st down depth. Ball delivered in pretty good shape.
Helmet to helmet.
Unnecessary roughness against the defense. First down.
Excellent call by the officials.
Now you see one more look. This is the crown of the helmet, leading on the tackle. And really a dangerous play. I mean, that's a big-time dangerous play.
And they were lucky neither one of them was seriously injured. Harrell just as easily could have hurt himself with that technique. So a first down, it keeps the drive alive for Auburn, trailing 3-0. Under 3.5 left in the first quarter. And back to the I formation. And back to Ronnie Brown. Trying to get around the outside. And down at the 31-yard line, here's John Saunders.
All right, Sean, Florida, Michigan again. Chris Perry is having a terrific day, at least as far as scoring touchdowns go. This is his third as he drags a couple of defenders in with him. 7 yards officially. Michigan up 28-23. Texas and LSU also in a close one. The Longhorns up by 4. Sean.
Thank you, John. A lot of good action around the country today, including this one. 2nd and 5, Auburn. Brown again running right with some blockers, including the fullback, Brandon Johnson, ahead of him. Derek Tolles made another tackle. Very close to first down yardage, near the 26.
Now, Ronnie Brown, as a freshman last year, opened up as the Auburn starter. And then Cadillac Williams took over. Their roles were reversed somewhat this year as Carnell Williams went down in that first half of the Florida game. And when Ronnie Brown came into that football game, it was obvious from the first snap that they were not going to miss a beat.
It is a first down for Auburn. Campbell looking to throw as a man. Silas Daniels hangs on this time, and he's near another first down inside the 20. Looks to be just a little bit short near the 17-yard line where Rich Gardner made the stop for the Nittany Lions.
And that was a nice adjustment by Jason Campbell with the wind. He's gearing down his throws. As a quarterback, if you're having problems, take a little bit off your ball. That was a nice ball to the outside. Jason Campbell has plenty of arm strength. Doesn't need to throw it at 100% velocity on every throw.
2nd and 1. 2 tight ends into the game. Robert Johnson and Cooper Wallace. With Brown the lone back. He runs left and has the first down. Down at the 14-yard line. Tackled by Anthony Adams and Rich Gardner. Brown, a fine all-around athlete. Ronnie was drafted by the Seattle Mariners out of high school in Georgia in the 50th round. And he had 3 games of over 100 yards this season, while starting only over the second half of the year. Rushed for 124 against Georgia, 224 against Ole Miss, and 163 against Florida. So he did some of his best work against the best competition. 1st and 10. Auburn trying to take the lead, down 3-0. And Brown down after a short gain at the 12-yard line, chopped down by Rich Gardner, who's been in on 3 straight plays for Penn State, the junior from Chicago, in his first year as a starter. He's a former walk-on.
This Penn State defense, they don't play a lot of man. They tend to sit in zone defense. If you play cornerback at Penn State, you have to tackle. Gardner's a solid tackle on one side. Brian Scott, the other cornerback, goes 6'2", 218. You talk about packing a punch as a tackler.
Flags down, movement before the snap.
Prior to the snap, false start, offense, 5-yard penalty, still 2nd down.
Tommy Tuberville, 48 years old, an Arkansas native, in his 4th season. After 4 years at Ole Miss, where he was 25-20. Former assistant in Miami, was on the staff when the Nittany Lions beat the then #1 ranked Hurricanes in 1986 in the Fiesta Bowl. Campbell faked the inside handoff to Brown. Jason stays on his feet and spins down at the 7-yard line. About 3 yards short of the first down, but a nifty run by Campbell, ended by the tackle of Anthony Adams, a gain of 10.
This is a great play in the Auburn offensive arsenal. Campbell scored on this exact same play against Georgia in the third quarter. That big showdown late in the season. Jason Campbell adds a real threat to this offense on both called runs and improvised runs on passing plays.
Limping a little bit as he heads to the sideline at the end of the quarter. ABC Sports presentation of the Capital One Bowl will return after this message and a word from our ABC stations. Penn State leads 3-0.
Oh, come on. Catch the ball before you run with it. Let's
Basketball
go.
101. Basketball 101.
Touch somebody. Touch somebody now.
Oh, what are you doing? There you go. Just like we drew it up.
Come on. Tangled up with Roar.
Stay in the lane. Stay in the lane. Body on somebody. Knock him down.
Get out of the crease. No, just hit somebody.
Go, Danny, go. It's a disgrace. They ought to be ashamed of themselves.
Now that's what I'm talking about.
Long for a Volkswagen but short on cash? Then you're in luck, because no one makes driving a new Volkswagen more affordable than Jack Ingram. Drive one of VW's most popular models, the Jetta GL or the new Beetle GL. Your choice, only $15,999 with financing as low as 1.9% or lease for $0 down and only $239 a month plus tax. VW style, VW safety, VW affordability. It's yours at Jack Ingram Volkswagen, Eastern Boulevard, Montgomery.
Zap Man! Zippity zapping wizard man. Zap pest control. Residential, commercial too. Zap's the name to know.
Call the experts at Zap Pest Control for hometown service.
Zap pest control. Zap pest control.
You think your neighbor's new dog is friendly?
Henry, come here. Go. Oh, Henry, good dog. Good
You ought to
dog.
get to know an Alpha insurance agent. Call Alpha. Fast, fair service, friendly people.
Good dog, Henry. Good dog.
Happy New Year from your Super Bowl station, WNCF TV.
You're watching the Capital One Bowl on ABC Sports.
Penn State leads 3-0 despite having just 15 yards of total offense in the first quarter. They capitalized on a turnover by Auburn to kick a field goal. Larry Johnson, 2 carries, -2 yards in the first quarter. And the first play of the second quarter is 3rd down and 3 for Auburn from the 7-yard line. They had the ball for more than 10 minutes in that first quarter. And a timeout with a play clock at 1. The 10th play of the drive upcoming right after this.
Nice shot. Let's see what you can do now. Let's go, man. Don't smile, kid. How much you want? All day. Oh, gotta stay down on that. I got that. You got what? That's a youngster for you. Just when you thought it was safe to come outside. Bet you won't score again. I won't score again? How you like that rainbow? We're not done. Excuse me. Had enough? Well, look here, sucker. You reach, I teach you. We'll see. Lesson just started. Come on. That's ugly. Could have done. You should have done. Hey, Mike. What? Who's got next? Get your young butt out there.
Dave. Larry. How is that Dell consolidation going? TCO's down. Uptime? Highly available. Great. And you? Well, you know, we're still running a proprietary Unix-based system. Right.
A Dell flexible solution with Dell PowerEdge servers and Intel Xeon processors can help manage your enterprise for less. Easy as Dell. Call or go online today.
Heisman winner Carson Palmer of USC meets Iowa's Brad Beggs in a clash of top quarterbacks. The FedEx Orange Bowl tomorrow night, 8 Eastern on ABC.
Out of the timeout again, 3rd down and 3 for Auburn.
And if you're the Penn State defense, you're looking for quarterback draw from Jason Campbell and possibly option. They will occasionally run option with Campbell and Brown out of the shotgun set.
3 wide receivers. Campbell looking to throw. Incomplete. Marcel Willis was open. The pass a little bit too far ahead of him. And Campbell slow to get up after taking a hit.
Yeah, Campbell takes a wallop, and even if he hooks up with Willis on this play, Sean Mayer, all Big Ten safety, led the Big Ten in tackles. I think he makes the play before Willis crosses the goal line.
Damon Duvall, in the past one of the great kickers in America, has had a very shaky year. Tommy Tuberville says it's really not fair to have him do both the punting and the place kicking. He thinks that's the reason why. Duvall is just 6 of 14 and has had 3 blocked, including what would have been the game winner against Florida. That one's blocked as well. A 24-yard field goal blocked by Derek Waite. And Waite is a kick blocking specialist. That's the 5th career block kick for the sophomore from Beltsville, Maryland.
And taking a look at the replay, Waite gets high. And that's a beautiful play, going up and denying Auburn their first points.
Introducing the new 215 horsepower Chrysler PT Turbo.
You really think Bionic Woman would beat the $6 million man in a foot race? She was smaller, so she's more aerodynamic.
With a Gatrog manual transmission.
He was $6 million. Now, what was she? 3, 4.5 tops?
Guys, it was a TV show. They're not real.
What if they had a kid? That'd be one fast kid.
PT Turbo. It'll really have you thinking fast. Now, for a limited time, choose one of 3 $500 Sony personal entertainment packages when you buy any new PT Cruiser.
Thrifty.com. Great cars, great rates, 24/7.
Welcome back to the Capital One All-America Mascot Pageant and the Talent Competition.
You're toast.
Coming up next is the lovely Evening Gown Spectacular.
Size 40? In your dreams.
Vote at CapitalOneBowl.com for the National Mascot of the Year. Tune in New Year's Day to see who wins.
What's in your wallet?
Thrifty.com. Great cars, great rates, 24/7.
For the first time ever, Oklahoma's in the Rose Bowl to battle Washington State. The Rose Bowl game presented by PlayStation 2. Coming up next on ABC.
Taking another look at the block, Derek Waite, 6'2", 232. And how about this for a vertical? I mean, that one really isn't on Duvall. He got the kickoff quickly, got the ball up. That's just a great play by number 94 in blue.
And he's made a habit of that. So Penn State still leads despite the fact that Auburn has had the edge in play. Larry Johnson with just his 3rd carry and positive yardage, but he's still at -1 yard for the game. 3 carries for -1. Dontarius Thomas made the stop on the senior from State College, Pennsylvania.
A trend has emerged in this football game for both defenses. Both defenses selling out against the run. Not a lot of room for Ronnie Brown, and obviously not a lot of running room for Larry Johnson. And it's getting clear that the quarterbacks are going to have to start making some plays for offensive success.
Zach Mills on the keeper. Across midfield and down to the Auburn 42-yard line. Roderick Hood saved the touchdown. The longest run of the season for Mills in the regular season was just 16 yards. That went for 37 and a Penn State first down.
Well, Zach Mills is very effective at the option play, and he doesn't just deal the football off. He's very capable on the keep. Remember last year against Ohio State, the great comeback, the game that gave Joe Paterno the record in Division 1A for wins. Zach Mills made a 69-yard touchdown run against the Buckeyes on that very same option play.
Now back to Larry Johnson for a gain of 3 to the 39. Spencer Johnson made the tackle. It'll be second down and 7. When you talk about the defenses, David, setting the tone, Tommy Tuberville said our first job is to tackle Larry Johnson. And we spoke with Fran Ganter, the offensive coordinator for Penn State. He said at the end of the year, the other team would have 8, 9 men up in the box. Joe Paterno would walk over and say, I don't care, just keep running the football. And they did. And Larry Johnson ran right through those 8 and 9 man fronts.
Yeah, you only have 7 blockers. And Joe Paterno said, hey, Larry Johnson will take care of the other 2. And he did.
Dropped the pitch. Scooped it up. And was tackled by Jay Ratliff. So a shaky start for Larry Johnson, who finished 3rd in the Heisman Trophy, balloting behind Carson Palmer and Brad Banks.
That's not a good pitch. That is not good execution by Zach Mills. And with a defense with this type of speed, probably the fastest defense that Penn State has seen all year, you want to give your tailback a nice front pocket pitch so that he can use his vision against this talented Auburn defensive front.
And that's a loss of 9, and it counts as a rush for Johnson. So right now 5 carries for -7 yards for Larry Johnson. And the ball back at the 48. They need to reach the 32 for a first down. A lot of time for Mills, and a long heave, and it is almost intercepted. Intended for Tony Johnson, but Carlos Rogers was the man who got his hands on the ball, the sophomore from Augusta, Georgia. He had 4 interceptions during the regular season, including 2 in their overtime win against Syracuse.
And this play was off time from the start. Again, the ball hits the ground. Tony Johnson running a post corner route to the outside. Ball thrown very late. Zach Mills has to pull this down and come down to a 2nd or 3rd choice, especially with the wind that's swirling around the stadium. Nice effort at the end of that play. Almost an interception.
Roderick Hood back for the punt from David Royer, who almost had it blocked. Heavy pressured by Reggie Torber. Hood thought about reversing his field and continues toward his sideline and was tackled on a good play by Sean McHugh. And there is a flag down at the 22-yard line. 37-yard punt, an 8-yard return. And an illegal block against Auburn. Time for the Aflac trivia question. Which 2 conferences are home to the 7 largest on-campus stadiums in college football?
I know the answer to that one, and I'm going to hold off.
I know the answer too. I think it's a very easy New Year's treat for our Aflac fans looking in today.
A little gimme on New Year's Day.
At the count of 3, you're going to be a chicken. 1.
Is this dangerous?
No, you don't even need that insurance. 2.
What insurance?
If you're sick, you miss work, they pay you cash. 3. You're a chicken. Now, you're a duck.
Aflac. Ask about it at work.
Aflac.
Chrysler invites you to preview our holiday collection, featuring our best-selling collection of minivans, now with a special holiday bonus. Now choose one of 3 Sony personal entertainment packages when you buy any new Town & Country minivan. Plus, get 0% financing for 60 months on select minivans. Or choose cash allowances up to $3,500. But hurry, this invitation ends January 2nd, so see your Chrysler dealer today.
My people, today we meet our destiny to give every man, woman, and child a chance to taste victory! Yummy, gooey, cinnamon-covered Domino's dots. Are you with me?
You
Domino's Dots taste so good, we want to give everyone a chance to try them. So now we're giving you an order free when you buy a large one-topping pizza for $9.99, only from Domino's.
I love this job.
Get the door, quick. It's free Domino's Dots.
The Capital One Bowl. This ABC Sports exclusive presentation brought to you by Capital One. What's in your wallet? Chrysler. Drive equals love. The New York Stock Exchange. The world puts its stock in us. And new Tostitos Gold. The perfect chip for hearty dips. When you've got Tostitos, you've got a party.
Sean McDonough with David Norrie and Mike Mayock. Delighted to have you with us as we start a great day of college football. The BCS gets underway following this Capital One Bowl. Jason Campbell out throwing for Auburn and completing to Devin Aromashadu. Out to the 13-yard line, tackled by Brian Scott. Here's John Saunders in Times Square Stadium.
Well, Sean, Larry Johnson is struggling in your game, but here's a back from the Big Ten who is not. Chris Perry. This is his 4th touchdown run of the day. That's within one of an all-bowls record. Michigan leading Florida now 35-23. Texas and LSU, it's 28-17. NC State over the Irish 14-3.
Michigan getting closer to a 10-win season. Penn State trying for its 10th win of the year here today. It will be the 19th 10-win season under Joe Paterno. They lead 3-0. Ronnie Brown just carried for an Auburn first down. Tackled by Chris Harrell.
This is our first nice dose of Ronnie Brown. Watch the cutback, and he hits the hole with a lot of quickness. And a lot more physical a runner as opposed to Cadillac Williams. And right now, as I said at the top, I think he's the best back in the SEC.
5-man rush. It's thrown out in the flat to the tight end Lorenzo Diamond. There's a flag down on the play. Diamond down at the 30-yard line. A flag thrown to the line of scrimmage. They have 3 very good tight ends with Robert Johnson, Lorenzo Diamond, and Cooper Wallace at Auburn. An eligible man downfield. So the Tigers hurting themselves with a number of problems. Fumbles, penalties, blocked field goals.
Tommy.
Downfield. The man was covered. 5-yard penalty. Still first down.
And Tommy Tuberville has to be encouraged with Jason Campbell. He's really settling down in the pocket in the throwing game.
The Capital One Bowl matching the SEC and Big Ten. Auburn and Penn State. And we look back at the biggest play of the game, the fumble by Jason Campbell on Auburn's first possession. That led to a Penn State field goal. Auburn had a field goal block. Larry Johnson has struggled. And here's Ronnie Brown struggling to get out of the backfield. John Bronson made the tackle. He was the least publicized member of that front 4 and the only non-senior. Bronson, a sophomore from Kent, Washington. But he'll be called upon to be even more of a factor next year as Adams, Kennedy, and Haynes all head likely to the NFL.
Well, he'll have to be. We mentioned 48.5 tackles behind the line of scrimmage between those 3 seniors, and it's pretty widely known across the Big Ten that this was the best front 4 in the conference all year long.
I think we can make a case to the best front 4 in the country. 5 wide receivers now for Auburn. On 2nd and long, Campbell throws it short for Ben Obamanu, the true freshman from Selma, Alabama. Gets them back near the 30-yard line. He's bounced back after that vicious hit from Chris Harrell helmet to helmet earlier in this half. Gain of 11 on the play. Let's take a look now at our Chrysler passing playbook.
Well, taking a look back on this last play, Jason Campbell, nice job on 2nd down, coming underneath. Pick up enough yardage so that you make that 3rd down situation manageable.
And now on the manageable 3rd down, the pass batted down by Levon Chisley, a backup defensive end, the redshirt freshman. Another highly touted prospect who will likely play a lot more at defensive end when Haynes departs after this season. So the penalty really hurt Auburn. They've been penalized 4 times already.
And that's what Tommy Tuberville said yesterday. He said one of the toughest things to get kids off 4 or 5 weeks coming in these bowl games is putting together long drives. You've been off so long that the execution isn't quite there. Very hard to put together a 10, 12 play drive down the field.
Damon Duval, lousy punt, low wobbler. Gets a nice roll away from Bryant Johnson. He eludes tacklers and is tripped up just as he was looking to break away at the 31-yard line. The snapper, Michael Lindsay, made the tackle. Might have saved a touchdown.
Still doing those bills, hon?
Just resting with a credit card balance. You've been feeding on those high interest rates.
I just switched our balance over to a Capital One no-hassle card. You're gonna save $500 a year.
$500?
Switch your high-interest balance to the Capital One no-hassle card for the nation's lowest long-term fixed rates. You could save up to $500 a year.
What's in your wallet?
Introducing the new 215 horsepower Chrysler PT Turbo.
You really think a bionic woman would beat the $6 million man in a foot race? She was smaller, so she's more aerodynamic.
With a Gatrog manual transmission.
He was $6 million. Now, what was she? 3, 4.5 tops?
Guys, it was a TV show. They're not real.
What if they had a kid? That'd be one fast kid.
PT Turbo. It'll really have you thinking fast. Now, for a limited time, choose one of 3 $500 Sony personal entertainment packages when you buy any new PT Cruiser.
Rodney King should have got beat for driving drunk and being grown in a Hyundai.
See what the buzz is all about.
Your father wouldn't put up with this mess. Do I look like my father?
Yeah.
Yeah, you do, man.
In the nose.
Barbershop on a special edition DVD. Buy or rent it today.
Come on.
Grab a Sammy Light. I'll be right out.
Just tasted new Sam Adams Light. The light beer with shockingly great taste.
ABC Sports, home of the Bowl Championship Series, presents continuing coverage of the Capital One Bowl.
3-0 Penn State. And the sellout crowd enjoying a spectacular day in Central Florida. 1st and 10, Lions from the 31. Larry Johnson without any running room. A yard, and that's all. Time to answer the Aflac trivia question. Which 2 conferences are home to the 7 largest on-campus football facilities in college football? I think everybody got this one, don't you think?
Yeah, they're both represented here today. I'm not sure I could name all 7, but I'll take a crack. Ohio State, Penn State, Michigan, Tennessee, Auburn, LSU. Which one am I missing? Georgia. Betwixt the hedges.
Mills with the pitch to Johnson, and finally some running room and a first down. Carlos Dansby made the tackle.
Now, Auburn figured to come into this football game with one priority, and that's stop LJ. And to do that, you have to use numbers. Auburn has the luxury of having some very talented cover corners, as well as 2 safeties, a free safety and a strong safety that have both played corner in their history at Auburn. So essentially they have 4 cornerbacks playing straight across. Gives you the luxury of going man to man and then putting numbers in the box against Larry Johnson.
It is just the 3rd first down for Penn State. 8:20 left in the half. Mills on the roll, throws it too high, off the hands of Bryant Johnson. Mills had some running room, but saw Johnson open. The throw was not a good one, and it had a chance to be picked off.
We're taking an isolation look at Bryant Johnson. Bryant Johnson is one of the best 5 or 6 wide receivers in the country against man-to-man coverage. This time against zone, trying to find a window in the secondary, and that's a nice route. Zach Mills just let the ball sail on him, and that's a dangerous pass. That ball can be picked off on the deflection very easily.
Michael Robinson back on the field. They fake the handoff to him, coming around. They give it to Johnson, and he's out to the 48, and a late flag thrown as one of the Penn State players got knocked down. Casey Williams, the tight end, after the play, and a personal foul against Auburn. The 5th against the Tigers. Penn State has been penalized only twice.
That might have been Jay Ratliff, the defensive end, after the whistle. And in a tight game, a 3-0 game.
Dead ball. Personal foul. Against the defense. 15-yard penalty. Automatic. First down.
Close, low-scoring game. 15-yarders can be devastating, especially the way that Auburn has been slowing down this running game.
That's Fran Ganter in the sunglasses, the offensive coordinator, in his 32nd year on the staff at Penn State. And what a terrific job he's done. He said the big difference this year, they're much more balanced now. Run and pass with the emergence of Mills, and obviously the monster season by Larry Johnson. Mills sets up a screen, and Johnson dropped it. Normally a sure-handed receiver. Larry Johnson with 39 catches on the year, second on the team, behind only Brian Johnson. Those two Johnsons are not related. Larry is the older brother of Tony Johnson, the other starting wide receiver, and it's tough to keep track of because there are 6 Johnsons on the Penn State team and 3 for Auburn.
We need a Johnson roll call, and we just got to look at the reception numbers for Larry Johnson. He goes over 2,000 yards on the ground, and he has 39 receptions to supplement. There are all 6 Johnsons.
And 7 if you include Larry and Tony's dad, Larry Sr., the defensive line coach. Here's Tony Johnson, Larry's younger brother, with the catch and first down. Out of bounds near the 18-yard line. Credit Carlos Dansby and Junior Rosegreen with the tackle, but a gain of 19. And really the first big hitter for Penn State.
While we're talking about Johnsons, Bryant Johnson is the premier wide receiver for the Nittany Lions, but Tony Johnson is very talented in his own right. Big, strong wide receiver, a possession guy who can also get behind the defense. And when we talked to Fran Ganter the other day, he said, hey, you know, if Larry Johnson went down at tailback, we'd have no problem putting Tony Johnson in the game.
Different personality types. Tony much more outgoing than Larry. Tony has a twin sister, Teresa, who's on the softball team at Penn State. Their mom, Chris, works at the university. It's very much a family affair in Happy Valley. Inside pitch to Michael Robinson. Earlier in the year, David, they had a lot more success bringing Robinson in as that slash Cordell Stewart kind of player, line up at a lot of different positions. Now teams are alert to him coming on the field and have a pretty good idea that most of the time when he runs on, they're going to find a way to give him the ball.
Yeah, and when that happens late in the season or during a bowl game, a lot of times you can use a guy like Robinson as a decoy, and he'll line up at quarterback, fullback, tailback, out wide at a wide receiver. They'll even play him in the slot.
Mills called a timeout with good reason. They had only 10 men on the field. 6:56 left in the half. Penn State leading by 3 and on the move.
The new Jeep Liberty Renegade. It gives you the power to conquer nature. As well as the ability to protect it. The new Liberty Renegade.
Now this is big.
The big clearance sale at Radio Shack. Save big on audio, video, and desktop computers.
It's so big, it's
savings of 10 to 50% on audio and video, and compact desktop systems starting at $599.97 after $450 in mail-in rebates and in-store savings.
It doesn't get any bigger than this.
The big clearance sale at Radio Shack. You've got questions, we've got answers.
I got a question for the folks at Radio Shack. Who's in charge of spelling around here?
Morning, William.
CJ. CJ. How you doing? Sometimes you wanna go where everybody knows your name.
Looks like somebody got a haircut.
Was it too short?
They're always glad you came.
Yeah.
Hey, no, you can't drive a truck. See you tomorrow, Bobby.
Can you come in and play?
Who can you count on? You know them by name.
The road to the Super Bowl begins on ABC with an NFL Wildcard Saturday doubleheader. Manning versus Pennington, Vick versus Favre. It's win or go home. Colts, Jets, Falcons, Packers. Coverage begins at 4 Eastern.
We're back at the Capital One Bowl, played in the Florida Citrus Bowl Stadium. Just a couple of minutes from the heart of downtown Orlando. Penn State after the timeout. Looking at 2nd and 10 from the Auburn 18-yard line. Mills pressured from behind. Throws, batted up in the air and almost intercepted. Deflected by Dontarius Thomas. Dangerous throw by Mills, who seemed to be looking for the tight end Mike Lukac, who was the featured tight end at the moment because Casey Williams has been getting some attention over on the sideline from the equipment people.
Look at Bryant Johnson down in the lower corner, left corner of the screen. He's going to work late in this route and find an opening deep in the end zone. And Zach Mills misses him. I mean, that's 6 of Zach Mills gets his eyes up and follows Bryant Johnson into the corner.
Penn State 0 for 3 on 3rd down. This is 3rd and 10. And whistles and flags stop the play. It will be the 9th play of the drive.
Prior to the snap, false start, offense. Your 5-yard penalty, still 3rd down.
Tomorrow night, don't miss the battle of 2 of the nation's top quarterbacks. They finished 1 and 2 in the Heisman Trophy balloting. Carson Palmer and Brad Banks. USC and Iowa in the FedEx Orange Bowl tomorrow night at 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific. The Bowl Championship Series continues on ABC Sports Championship Television. Of course, Iowa with only 1 loss. That was to Iowa State. They were co-champions in the Big Ten with Ohio State. Both teams undefeated in conference, did not play each other. Meanwhile, Tommy Tuberville looking for another win over a top 10 team. Moving along the line, a flag and a whistle. The play will not count. The players did not hear the whistle. Brett Edens dumped Mills gingerly. Edens now making his case, saying that one of the Nittany Lion offensive linemen moved. And pointing at Eric Rickenbach.
Prior to the snap, false start, offense. 5-yard penalty, still 3rd down.
I don't think this is the right call here because Edens comes in to the neutral zone and then the offensive player reacts. Take a look at it. Edens moves, then the movement from the tight end. And under the new rule, within the last couple of years, defensive lineman moves into the neutral zone, in that case almost into the Penn State backfield. If he creates the movement along the offensive line, then the penalty should go against the defense.
Now 4 penalties against Penn State. Mills throws it short for Johnson. And he's short of the 1st down. Got them back into a much shorter field goal situation when he came up about 10 yards short of the 1st down marker. Tackled by Mark Brown, a gain of 12. And some pushing and shoving. Mark Brown, who made the tackle, had to be led away by his Auburn teammates.
Yeah, I think this is a smart play call. You don't go for it all in a low-scoring defensive game. And both head coaches, Joe Paterno and Tommy Tuberville, are perfectly comfortable playing a low-scoring game. You know, they'll play to their defense, and they won't get jumpy and start taking chances on offense. Both these coaches have been in plenty low-scoring games, especially Paterno.
Gold connected earlier from the right hash mark. This is a 33-yarder. Does it hook enough? No. Hooked around the outside. As Eminem might say, around the outside, around the outside. So it's still 3-0 Penn State with 5:44 to play in the 1st half here in Orlando.
Okay, your company sells sweaters. I need a sweater. I call and I get this.
Please enter your catalog ID number and account number.
Then a live human gets on.
All right.
I'm on hold.
Please enter your catalog ID and account number.
In the state of Avaya, whether I access you by web or by phone, your contact center folks know everything about me. I never have to repeat myself. And that means when I need a kickin' new jacket, I'm calling you again. Reach Avaya, a higher plane of communication.
I take good care of the lawn, I do. Do you bag or mulch?
Man, this party needs help. Better music.
Hey now, you're an all-star. I'm a mulcher.
A better host.
So, guy goes into a bar.
And a better chip that doesn't break. Introducing new Tostitos Gold, a whole new kind of Tostitos made extra thick for hearty dips with an authentic Mexican taste. New Tostitos Gold, the perfect chip for hearty dips.
Bag?
I mulch.
Jim! Hey, Mikey. Here's our TV, 57-inch widescreen. Looks even better than last week.
Can we take it home this time?
Therein lies the problem, Peter. The minute we take it home, I'm gonna see it on sale.
You know, with Circuit City's Price Match Plus, you don't have to worry about that.
Huh.
Don't worry, take it home. And right now at Circuit City, buy any big screen TV and get free delivery, guaranteed in time for the BCS Championship game. Circuit City, we're with you.
It's ABC's Sizzling Wednesday. 25 guys, 1 girl, no holds barred.
It'll be a fight to the finish.
The Bachelorette, next Wednesday, 9/8 Central on ABC.
Still 3-0, Penn State. And Auburn takes over after the missed Penn State field goal at its own 20. Trey Smith now in at tailback. Lined up behind Johnson and following Johnson for no gain. Trey Smith is a true freshman from Venice, Florida. Recruited to play tailback here, and he felt like he was the victim of discrimination in the recruiting process. He said a lot of teams would not recruit him as a running back because he was white.
Tommy Tuberville calls him the little white hope, and you know, he is not a big guy, but extremely quick, and he'll hit it in a hurry when he sees a crease. And one of the real heroes for Auburn in that season finale against Alabama.
Well, a great high school career here in Florida. He's tackled from behind by Jimmy Kennedy. No gain on the play. Great play by Kennedy, the senior from Yonkers, New York. First team All Big Ten for the second year in a row. He almost left for the NFL after last year, came back to have a big year, and he did.
Well, I think to have success on the NFL level, Jimmy Kennedy, he's a great run stuffer. Very stout inside against the run, but he's going to have to improve his pass rushing abilities to really make a mark in the NFL, and I think he has the ability to do that with some work.
He had 78 tackles this year, most by a Penn State lineman since they joined the Big Ten in 1993. Short pass Campbell to Smith. Tackled by Andy Ryland, a reserve linebacker, well short of the first down by about 5 yards. So 3 and out for Jason Campbell and the Auburn offense. They've been very stagnant. Neither team has reached 100 yards of offense yet. Auburn with 88 and Penn State with 95. And here's Duval. The punt for the 3rd time. The average better than it should be. He was very fortunate on the last punt. He got a lot of yardage on the roll. More altitude, this one high and short. And a halo violation as Bryant Johnson was interfered with by Horace Willis at the 41-yard line.
I don't think Horace noticed that punt was fluttering short, and he did not keep track of Bryant Johnson having to come up 6-7 yards to make the play on the run. Wow. I think this is a little bit excessive, Sean. Watch, the punt's going to come short, and Willis is going to try to step to the left to get out of the way. And I don't think that is a violent enough hit to warrant 15 yards. I mean, with the penalty change, the halo violation has already gone to 10 yards, and I don't think there's any need to penalize the extra 5 yards. Willis making an honest attempt to slip by Bryant Johnson on the left side.
So with the big walk-off, excellent field position for Penn State. They'll begin in Auburn territory at the 43-yard line. Not a lot of passing down the football field in this game.
I'm not surprised with Auburn. Penn State tries to keep a lid on things with their secondary. They play a deep 3-man zone, sometimes 2 deep. But Penn State seeing some man-to-man on the outside. And I think it's just a matter of time before Zach Mills takes a crack to Tony or Bryant Johnson.
The pitch to Larry Johnson. And he's belted, late hit out of bounds. No question about that one. Tavares Robinson put the lick on Larry Johnson, out of bounds on the Penn State sideline. The play was going to be good for a gain of 4, but another personal foul penalty.
That's at least 3 15-yard personal foul calls against Auburn here in the first half.
He's way out of bounds.
Against the defense, 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
Yeah, this is a good call, and Bryant Johnson at the end of this play is in a vulnerable position. He's going down, his balance is backwards, and Robinson hits him right on that left shoulder.
Robinson, first team all-conference safety in his first year playing the position. Made a couple of position changes that really helped the defense. Robinson went from corner to safety. Dansby went from defensive back to linebacker. In the new defense under new coordinator Gene Chizik. His defense has played very well today. They bottled up Larry Johnson. That's the 10th carry for Larry Johnson. And he's rushed now for 20 yards. Robinson made the tackle cleanly this time. Beginning Super Bowl Sunday, late nights have a new player, Jimmy Kimmel. Till then, Jimmy's hit the streets to get a little practice. Jimmy Kimmel Live, late nights starting Super Bowl Sunday right here on ABC.
I think he's really one of the great comedians on television right now.
3 minutes to go in the half. Penn State looking to add to a 3-0 lead. Johnson finding the hole. And Spencer Johnson made the tackle. Very near the first down yardage. It appears to be a first down for Penn State.
You can sense this Penn State offensive front starting to gain a little steam, and Larry Johnson starting to have a little more success between the tackles. And this was a much maligned offensive line a year ago, and basically the same offensive line back here in 2002.
Auburn just 89 yards of offense. They've been penalized for 75 yards. They've certainly helped the Nittany Lions. They moved that ball back a little bit from where it was originally marked, and as a result it's not a first down by just about 6 inches. So it'll be 3rd and inches, and Joe Paterno communicating with his assistant coaches. Joe now 76 years old. And still as fiery as ever, as the officials in the Big Ten certainly found out this year. We'll talk more about that as we go along.
Penn State typically fairly conservative. This wouldn't be a bad time for play action. Take a crack into the end zone.
An extra fullback on the field. Ricky Upton joins Sean McHugh. That's Upton at the right end of the line. It's just a keeper for Mills and a first down.
Penn State, short yardage, almost unstoppable when you have a goal line situation, 3rd or 4th and 1. You can go to Zach Mills, a big quarterback on the keeper. Of course, Larry Johnson, and 2 big physical fullbacks to run behind.
As soon as they reset the chains, the clock will run. Each team with 2 timeouts remaining. There's Gene Chizik. Here's Mills delivering a stiff arm to the defender, Robinson. And he goes out of bounds near the 10-yard line. I'm going to correct myself. Gene Chizik, the defensive coordinator, is in the booth upstairs near us for Auburn. It'll be 2nd down from the 10-yard line for Penn State.
Once again, it looked like Mills had some running room outside, but Travaris Robinson, first team All-SEC, and he might have gotten away with a 5-yard face mask here.
He certainly did.
Well, that was face mask on face mask. Mills had a piece of Robinson's face mask as well, and we might see Tommy Tuberville use a couple timeouts here, save some time on the clock for his Auburn team to come back down the field.
Tigers showing blitz, and they come. Mills to the end zone. Incomplete. Tony Johnson with Roderick Hood in coverage. Just couldn't corral it in the corner of the end zone.
Now this one is awfully close, and a straight fade route by Tony Johnson. He gets off the line well here on the bottom of the screen, working man-to-man. Ball's placed well to the outside. And boy, that's close. The right foot. Right toe might have gotten a piece of chalk here. Hard to tell from that angle, but it looked like on the replay, Tony Johnson just touched that sideline in the end zone with his right foot.
Might have been juggling the ball. With the play clock running out, Mills got the snap off on third down, throws to the end zone, incomplete. Too high for Gerald Smith. Bryant Johnson also near the throw. Junior Rosegreen had the coverage.
Let's take a look at the play before from the end zone again, and we'll have a better look here. Yeah, I don't even think you were right, Sean. I'm not even sure he had possession, but assuming he does have possession, I still think that right foot catches a piece.
Now the ball hits the ground there. He never had it.
It does come out late.
That was a very good call by this Big East officiating crew. Here's Robbie Gould, 1 for 2. Connected from 21, missed from 33. This is 27. His first from the left hash mark. The other two are from the right. He'd like to be in the middle of the field probably one time. No problem with that angle. It's a soft draw, just like our sideline reporter Mike Mayock off the tee. Long and strong, and a 6-0 lead for Penn State. 1:44 left till halftime at the Capital One Bowl in Orlando.
ABC, once again the broadcasting home of the NBA.
С Новым годом! Joyeux Noël et bonne année!
What they're saying is season's greetings and a happy new year from the Detroit Red Wings.
Happy holidays from ABC Sports, home of the Stanley Cup Finals.
Welcome back to Orlando. A couple of field goals, and Penn State has a 6-0 lead over Auburn. Time for the Tigers to get something done. They haven't had much offense. Just 88 yards on offense for the Tigers, and 6 first downs.
I think the Tigers are awfully fortunate to only be down 6 points at this point. And you know, their offense, Jason Campbell has been forced to be patient in the pocket. And Penn State secondary playing soft. And if you're going to pick up yards against Penn State, you have to do it on long drives. Auburn, too many penalties and not enough consistency in their execution to put a drive together here in the first half.
Very high kickoff by David Kimball, caught on the run by Trey Smith. He made the 23-yard line before he was driven back by Andrew Gooman, whose dad, Mike Gooman, was a standout player at Penn State in the late 70s. Here's a standout player on our team, John Saunders.
Well, thanks a lot, Sean. Michigan against Florida. And Florida trying to stand up to the Wolverines. They've been down throughout this game. Grossman, though, goes 3 yards to Aaron Walker. And it's a high-scoring affair, as you might expect from the Florida side, not necessarily from the Wolverines, but 35-0 the lead. Sean.
And not far from the Outback Bowl here at the Capital One Bowl, a different story. Low-scoring game. 6-0 Penn State. 1:37 left in the half. Campbell eludes the rush. Somehow he got away from Anthony Adams, but now he's down at the 18-yard line. Jimmy Kennedy and Michael Haynes. Haynes had 14.5 sacks during the regular season to lead the Big Ten, the senior from Columbus, New Jersey.
Yeah, Haynes, one of the top defensive ends when NFL scouts are evaluating. What a play to slip away from Adams and turn a very negative play into just a minor sack.
Ronnie Brown carries. Gino Capone the tackle. It seems that Auburn is going to be content to go to the locker room and regroup on offense. Very conservative play call there with the 2 timeouts left.
Now, Jason Campbell has not been comfortable throwing the ball against this Penn State zone defense, and it's, you know, he's had so much success with his run game and using play action off that run game, and he hasn't had the opportunity to do that much in the first half. Too many obvious passing situations for Jason Campbell in this offense.
And they keep it on the ground with the inside handoff. Ronnie Brown in the secondary. Out to the 42. They'll stop the clock to move the chains. 22 seconds left in the half. Brian Scott made the tackle. A 22-yard gain. And a timeout called by Auburn, leaving the Tigers with 1.
Yeah, in this situation, you really don't need to use a timeout because you pick up the first down, get up to the line of scrimmage. The referee's got to get back behind the quarterback before he whistles a football ready for play.
Friday night, join Keith Jackson and Dan Fouts for the grand finale of the Bowl Championship Series. The only 2 undefeated teams in the country meet for the national championship. Miami and Ohio State, the Tostitos Fiesta Bowl. Coverage begins Friday night at 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific on ABC Sports Championship Television. Miami going for back-to-back national titles. Ohio State trying to win the consensus national title for the first time since 1968. Jason Campbell over to the sideline. We mentioned earlier, if you weren't with us, Bobby Petrino, the offensive coordinator, will leave after this game and go to Louisville as the head coach. And it was up to him whether or not he was going to coach in this game. He wanted to coach. Tommy Tuberville said, I understand he's a first-time head coach. If he wanted to leave, set up his staff, recruit, he could go. But he's been dividing his time over the last couple of weeks between Auburn offensive coordinator and Louisville head coach.
And typically that's not productive. You look back a couple years, Mark Richt leaving Florida State. They have trouble in the national championship game. In fact, they don't score offensive points against Oklahoma. We saw what happened with John L. Smith against Marshall. Louisville against Marshall earlier this year. Louisville came out, didn't play a good game. They were distracted, and Auburn has not played very well on offense here today.
3 wide receivers now on 1st and 10. Campbell out of the gun. 5-man rush, short pass, and out of bounds goes Marcel Willis at the 50-yard line. Nudged out of bounds by Brian Scott. The ball warming up for what might be a last-second field goal try.
18 seconds, plenty of time, especially with the timeout. But Jason Campbell has to get a big chunk here, pick up a first down, and get his team up on the football quickly.
He's going deep this time. Look out. It is incomplete. Almost intercepted by Anwar Phillips. Looked like he was heading right into his arms, and then he slipped. Phillips, the nickelback, a redshirt freshman from Germantown, Pennsylvania, has picked off a couple this year, and that looked like it was going to wind up in his arms without any question.
He not only slipped, looked like he overran the ball just slightly, and you're right, Sean, that should have been an interception. Jason Campbell not having any luck getting the football down the field, stretching the field against this deep, soft playing zone defense of Penn State.
Auburn was not shut out in the first half during the regular season. This one is intercepted, and they'll be shut out in this first half. Off the ricochet, Brian Scott with the pick. It glanced off Marcel Willis. Scott had 3 interceptions during the regular season. The senior from Warrington, Pennsylvania, 3-year starter with an interception in the Capital One Bowl.
And Willis looked like the ball might have been deflected at the line of scrimmage. Willis had a chance to bring that football in, and if he does, Duvall with plenty of leg for a field goal try to close out the half. But a nice play by Scott, a big physical corner to get back in pass coverage and make a play on the deflection.
Now what will Penn State do? 7 seconds left, the ball at the 36. Looks like a kneel down or simple handoff. It's not always that simple when you give it to this man, Larry Johnson, on the last play of the half, with by far his best run. A 17-yard gain. Let's go down to Mike Mayock with Joe Paterno.
Coach, your defense is pitching a shutout. They look great. What do you got to do offensively in the second half?
Oh, we got to get some kind of a sequence. You know, we're jumping all over the place. One formation, this one. And Auburn's quick. You know, they're really quick, and they're playing good defense. And we're playing good defense. But you waste as many opportunities as we have, you're going to get licked. I mean, we got to cash in on a couple. We've had good field position.
Right.
We just have not been able to maintain. They've done an awfully good job on Larry Johnson.
Yeah, they sure have, Coach, and you just got to convert, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely, Mike.
Thanks, Coach.
At the half here in Orlando in the Capital One Bowl, it's Penn State 6 and Auburn nothing. Coming up, the halftime show with John Saunders and Terry Bowden. Gentlemen.
All right, Sean, thanks a lot. I hope at Joe Pa's age that I can skip along the sidelines or out of the studio at this point. They talked about Larry Johnson, stopped him, but still losing the game.
That's right. They put all their money in stopping Larry Johnson. They're overloading the box. It's causing problems with him, and yet it looks like they're going to play a conservative game. They need to open their offense up. Auburn is playing a conservative ball game. Open it up, try to score some points.
All right, coming up, the Avaya halftime show. We're going to get you ready for the rest of the Bowl Championship Series leading up to the Tostitos Fiesta Bowl on Friday. Stick around.
Companies care about the things they make. After all, it's their business. What we care about is what a company is made of. That's our business. That's why companies that list on the New York Stock Exchange must have the integrity to meet the highest standards in the world, and why the world puts its stock in us.
With over 160 different majors, Penn State is the perfect university to follow your destiny, whatever it appears to be.
This is the Avaya Halftime Show, brought to you by Avaya, a higher plane of communication. From Times Square in New York, here now, John Saunders and Terry Bowden.
Penn State with a 6-0 lead over Auburn in the second half still to come. We, of course, are leading to that great matchup on Friday between #1 Miami and #2 Ohio State. It's hard to believe Ken Dorsey, starting quarterback for the Hurricanes, finished 5th in the Heisman Trophy voting. A lot of people say it's the system, it's not him. But when you're going to question a quarterback, go to the expert, Dan Fouts, a guy who's in the Hall of Fame, about what he thinks of Ken Dorsey.
As a former quarterback, the way I judge fellow quarterbacks is by wins and losses. In Ken Dorsey's case, it's wins and loss. His record of 38-1 as a starter for the Canes is really remarkable. And you can just imagine how appreciative his head coach, Larry Coker, is.
I think the thing with Ken that he just gives our entire football team such great confidence because of his preparation and because of the way he handles himself on the field and the way he makes plays. And you just look at his record and the things that we've done as a football team. When the big games are on the line, Ken comes up big, and I think that's very important.
What blows me away is how his critics find a way to diminish his accomplishments. But he knows what's important to the Canes' success.
I want to keep winning, and other people can say what they want. I just have a, understanding that that's their opinion. Everybody's entitled to their opinion, and some people just aren't going to like me. So, if people don't like my playing style, people don't like how I throw the ball in certain games, then, that's their right, constitutional and everything like that. I'm going to try to keep improving and keep trying to prove people wrong. I have my own opinion of myself. I have my own opinion on my abilities, and just as long as I stay confident.
And Terry, I think without question, anytime a franchise is as successful as the Miami Hurricanes, there's a system there. But there still has to be someone pulling the trigger. You can't take it away from Ken Dorsey.
No, Ken Dorsey's great at reading plays, spreading defenses out, and he gets his ball to all his players. His coaches give him an offense that gives him a chance to be versatile, throws to his wideouts, running the ball, dumping to his tight end. He gets the ball to all of his players.
I think we're going to see a great game on Friday night. Ohio State's defense, see if they can be equal to the task now. Elsewhere today, Michigan against Florida in the Outback Bowl. Rex Grossman down most of this game. Here he dances in the pocket, goes 33 yards to Kewan Ratliff, touchdown. Florida grabs the lead, but Chris Perry has been unstoppable for Michigan. 7 yards on this touchdown run. This is third of the day, and Perry is not done. The record for a bowl game, Terry, is 5. Perry's within 1.
He's gotten the ball in the end zone 4 times now, and the thing is the quarterback is getting the ball to the 20s. Chris Perry drives it through the red zone for the touchdown.
Ernest Graham has 2 touchdown runs for Florida, a high-scoring game, 38-30, the score right now. Texas against LSU in the Cotton Bowl, and of course Chris Sims has not enjoyed playing there in the past against Oklahoma, but today looking pretty good.
He sure is. He's not had any touchdown passes in his prior attempts there, but now he's thrown 2 already today. A good ending for him at Texas.
And Cedric Benson with a touchdown run in that game as well. Notre Dame against NC State. The Irish stumbled late against Boston College and USC, and again today.
And it's their offense. They have no offense. They can't generate points that keep their defense on the field too much time. And Phillip Rivers is having a wonderful game in the first half. Outstanding job of putting points on the board.
Of course, when we're done with the Capital One Bowl, it'll be time for the first 2 BCS Bowls of the day. We have 2 previews. Let's first join Brent Musburger and Gary Danielson.
Well, John, Happy New Year from Gary and me. We're at the scene of the granddaddy of them all. Oklahoma is favored in this game, but Gary, what do you think will decide the Rose Bowl?
Oh, Brand, it could be a million things, you know that, but 2 stand out for me. The underrated Cougar defense must stop the run, and can Jason Kessler's ankle last against a physical and fast defense?
All right, and after us, it's the Sugar Bowl in New Orleans. Right now, let's send you to Brad Nessler.
Brent, we get set here at the Superdome for the 69th Sugar Bowl. And for the Georgia Bulldogs, it's been a long time waiting to get back here. 2 decades, in fact. 20 years ago, the last time they made this trip. We've got an interesting contrast in quarterbacks. On Georgia's side, for second-year coach Mark Richt, David Green. Last year, he was Freshman of the Year in the SEC. This year, the Offensive Player of the Year in the SEC. For Florida State, normally strong at quarterback, they're down to their number 3 man right now, and it's Fabian Walker. And while Fabian might have had a few hits in the 60s, this is a little different for this young kid from Americus, Georgia. Over 8,000 career yards in his high school career. Almost went to Athens. Instead, he went to Tallahassee. And today, he makes his first start ever against his home state team. And John Saunders, he's thrown 8 more passes this year than you have.
He missed that backyard.
Yeah, he forget I was 15 of 16 for 250 feet. But anyway, your dad's had a lot of controversy coming into this game. The quarterback position, how does he make that work?
Well, it's going to be very difficult because you can get the morale back on this team. They'll fall together and pull behind, but you got a quarterback that played third team most of the season, hasn't had reps, hasn't run the offense. How much of the offense can he put in? You just don't know. And you know Georgia's going to stuff the box and put the game on his back.
And Georgia's been terrific over the last couple of weeks of the season as well. Of course, we'll let you know what else is going on in college football the rest of the day, but right now, some of the celebration at the Capital One Bowl. Let's go back and rejoin Sean McDonough. Sean.
All right, John, thank you, and welcome back, everybody. Halftime, Penn State 6, Auburn nothing in the 57th Capital One Bowl. And on the field, entertaining the sellout crowd, the Auburn marching band under the direction of Rick Good.
Avaya. What is it? First, what it's not. A Caribbean island? Welcome to Avaya. Yeah! Avaya! Everybody say Avaya! Avaya. Avaya is a state of pure communications perfection. Here you find IP telephony for about the price of a standard PBX upgrade. And the biggest, most experienced communication services team, hands down. Oh, still not sure what Avaya is? Ask over 90% of Fortune 500 companies. Go on. They know. Reach Avaya, a higher plane of communication.
Our dad's idea of time on the road is different now. He signs more report cards than autographs and spends more time on our wardrobe and hair than his. Instead of people watching him play, he watches us play. But one thing hasn't changed. Every night, he plays to a full house.
It's a road game, one we can't afford to lose. At
Auburn University, we're tackling transportation challenges head-on. Home to a one-of-a-kind test track at Auburn's National Center for Asphalt Technology, engineers, students, and technicians develop and test new road surfacing methods. The knowledge we gain on the track paves the way for more durable and safer roads across the nation. Auburn, working to make us all winners on the road.
Paul Callan investigates events no one can explain.
There's no miracle here.
Now he's about to uncover a mystery he was never meant to solve.
Why would God do this? Who said it was God?
It's real.
What does it want?
Everything.
Miracles, Monday, January 27th on ABC. Viewer discretion advised.
2 field goals by Robbie Gould, and Penn State has a 6-0 lead at halftime of the Capital One Bowl over Auburn. And on the field, the Penn State Blue Band, directed by Richard Bundy.
In 1960, the laser was invented. Its impact was immediate.
Discovery.
Today, Orlando is a world leader in the field of laser optics, and researchers at the University of Central Florida are setting world records for laser data transmission. Also renowned as the National Center for Simulation, Orlando-based companies are innovators in training and entertainment. Our colleges and universities along Florida's high-tech corridor graduate more engineers than the Research Triangle. And the thousands of companies now exporting from this region play a pivotal role in the global economy.
Right.
Orlando, in Florida's Orange County, is home to over 3,800 high-tech companies and more than 80,000 high-tech employees.
Creativity.
We are well known for our attractions and year-round climate of fun. But the imagination and technology that created this environment are precisely the same forces behind the growth we are experiencing today. Orlando is a place built on dreams, a place built on technology, now and into the future. Orlando, putting imagination to work.
Now let's join the Capital One Bowl halftime extravaganza, Paradise.
Please welcome to Paradise, international pop sensation, curb recording artist, Casey.
Could it be the little things you do to me? Feelings that I'm feeling are so new to me. I'm going through so many changes. I've been with the strangers. How my heart goes crazy when you look at me. When I'm with you, it's paradise. No place on earth could be so nice. Through the crystal waterfall, I hear you call. Just take my hand, it's paradise. You kiss me once, I'll kiss you twice. And as I gaze into your eyes, I realize it's paradise. to me.
Halftime in Orlando. Penn State leads Auburn 6-0. We'll return with second half action in a moment.
Once he immobilizes his prey, he moves in for the kill.
We're big fans of college football at Capital One, and we're proud to bring you today's Capital One Bowl. Now let's honor those unsung heroes of the gridiron, not the cheerleaders, not the quarterback, but the mascots. To announce the Capital One Mascot of the Year, here's ESPN's Kenny Mayne.
Welcome to the finale of the Capital One All-America Mascot Pageant.
On behalf of ESPN, Capital One, and mascots everywhere, I'm proud to announce the Mascot of the Year. And the winner is Monty, University of Montana. There it is. It is their mascot, America. Woo! What's in your wallet?
Woo! That's what I'm talking about! Woo!
Just tasted new Sam Adams Light. The light beer with shockingly great taste.
Yeah!
Now there's a better way to soothe your skin after shaving. Nivea for Men Aftershave Balm has advanced moisturizers and vitamins to soothe and improve your skin. Nivea for Men. More evolved skincare.
Only 2 teams remain undefeated, and now they'll meet for the national championship. Dorsey, McGahee, and the #1 Miami Hurricanes. Florette and the 2nd-ranked Ohio State Buckeyes. The Tostitos Fiesta Bowl. Friday night, 8 Eastern on ABC.
Welcome back to the Capital One Bowl. At halftime, Penn State leads Auburn 6-0. Now the finale of our Capital One Bowl halftime extravaganza, Paradise.
This has been the Avaya Halftime Show, brought to you by Avaya, a higher plane of communication. We'll be back with the second half after this from our ABC stations.
Get ready for 2 hot Wednesday premieres. First, 25 guys, 1 girl, no holds barred, The Bachelorette. Then, 7 celebrities who'll do anything to win big money, and 1 mole who will sabotage them all. Celebrity Mole Hawaii. The premiere of ABC's Sizzling Wednesday, next Wednesday at 9/8 Central on ABC.
Just practicing for my new talk show. Is it true what we've heard about you and Gwyneth Paltrow? I'd like to welcome our next guest. How'd it go in there?
Jimmy Kimmel Live, late night starting Super Bowl Sunday on ABC.
If you haven't tasted Guthrie's chicken fingers, you're missing a lip-smacking good treat. Established in 1965, Guthrie's has 23 locations around the Southeast. And now, with 2 locations in Montgomery to serve you, Guthrie's has the best-tasting golden fried chicken fingers in town. And for a limited time, come by and get a bucket of chicken fingers for only $9.50. Whether you're looking for a quick snack or dinner for the whole family, Guthrie's is the place to stop. Guthrie's Golden Fried Chicken Fingers in the East Chase Shopping Center or at 5376 Atlanta Highway.
At Reinhardt Toyota, we'll beat your best deal on a new Toyota, or we'll pay you $500 cash. That's right, $500 cash. Choose any new Avalon, Camry, Corolla, 4Runner, Highlander, Sequoia, Tacoma, or a Tundra. Why look anywhere else? This is a limited time offer, so don't miss this guaranteed savings event going on now. The best deals at Reinhardt Toyota.
Reinhardt Toyota, where you always get the best.
Happy 2003 from WNCF TV.
This is the Capital One Bowl.
And welcome back to the Capital One Bowl in Orlando. At halftime, Penn State leads Auburn 6-0. Sean McDonough along with David Norrie, and obviously David, the coaches at halftime trying to figure out a way to get some offense.
Yeah, both passers combined less than 100 yards in the first half. For Auburn especially, they need to put some drives together. They've shot themselves in the foot a couple times with penalties. Jason Campbell has to be comfortable hitting some balls in the short to intermediate zones. They got to keep running the ball with Ronnie Brown. He's had some success. Auburn has to put together a long drive or two to get back in this football game.
Auburn did a great job against Larry Johnson in the first half. The All-American rushed for just 41 yards on 12 carries, and 17 of those yards came on the last carry of the half. Let's head down to the field. Mike Mayock with Tommy Tuberville.
Hey, Coach, I assume you're pretty happy with your defensive effort the first half, but offensively, how frustrated were you?
Well, in defense, we were letting them break that one option play. Other than that, it's been pretty good. We've been able to move back and forth and do some different things, but offensively, we're just getting beat up front a little bit. We're going to have to run some counters, some misdirection, kind of throw them off a little bit. You know, Jason having a tough time throwing this ball in the ball with the wind, but, you know, it's all coming down to execution, so 60 more plays, we'll see what happens.
Hey, Coach, good luck and thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you, Mike. Well, Auburn will kick off to begin the second half. Tony Johnson and Gerald Smith back deep to receive the kick from Damon Duval. And the ball blew off the tee, that win that Tommy Tuberville was talking about. Problematic for Duval, the senior from Chattanooga, Tennessee. Despite the difficult year that he's had, Coach Tuberville thinks he is an NFL talent, probably as a punter. And the ball blew off the tee again, so we'll take a look at the Capital One halftime statistics. Very little offense, 130 total yards for Penn State, 114 for Auburn, 2 Auburn turnovers, and they were a penalty-plagued bunch. Harris Robinson comes in to hold the ball for Duval. Kickoff down to the 12-yard line to Tony Johnson. And he brings it back to the 26. We highlighted at the top of the telecast Ronnie Brown and Larry Johnson, and Brown had the better of it. Although I think whoever did the math didn't quite compute Brown's average correctly. 14.6.
I'm not a math major, but seemed a little bit much per carry.
4.6 would be more like it. And there was a penalty on the return being walked off against Penn State.
Personal foul against the receiving team. Half the distance to the goal line. First down.
That's 5 penalties now against Paterno's Lions, for a total of 45 yards. We spoke with Joe Paterno yesterday about the problems he had with officials during the regular season. He felt that too much was made of that entire situation, although if he had it to do over again, there were a couple of things that he would not have done. The pitch back to Larry Johnson, and he's out to the 16-yard line. Yesterday we spoke with Coach Paterno about his interaction with the officials.
Nobody really understood when I ran after Dick Horning after the Iowa game that I was not mad at Dick, and then all I I wanted to tell, I said to Dick, you tell those two guys, they blew it, the two guys, and they were on the other side. And that's all I said to Dick. You know, people thought I grabbed him by the shirt, and Dick said, okay. And I walked away.
Here's Larry Johnson. He ran into Travaris Robinson at the 22-yard line. Regardless of his intent, you can't really put your hand on an official like that. And there was an awful lot made about Mike Davis, the Indiana coach, running on the court. Some suggest he should get a 6-game suspension. He wound up with 1. I'm surprised that Coach Paterno wasn't at least disciplined in some way that we know of for what he did after that game against Iowa. He had good reason, having watched the tape a couple of times, to be dismayed with the officials both in that game and the game against Michigan. He was also publicly critical of officials. He had a doll of an official hanging an effigy in his front door, although he said he didn't know anything about that. That was his wife Sue's doing. Zach Mills carries for the first down. Carlos Dansby made the tackle. 1st and 10, Penn State out at the 27-yard line.
We're watching Joe Paterno go after the referee at the end of that game. He wasn't just sprinting, he was accelerating. I mean, pretty good speed.
With that
jaw
there clenched
mid-70s.
76 years old now. Still walks regularly in the space behind his home. The end of a dead-end street in State College, Pennsylvania, where he's been on the coaching staff of Penn State for 53 years. 16 as an assistant, 37 as head coach. Tommy Tuberville wasn't alive when Joe started his coaching career at Penn State. Long pass intended for Bryant Johnson. Double coverage from Roderick Hood and Travaris Robinson.
And this Auburn Tigers defense giving Penn State a heavy dose of man-to-man on the outside, and that's nothing new for Auburn. You know, we talked about both safeties playing the cornerback positions early in the year, earlier in their career, and essentially have 4 cornerbacks across the field. And the Auburn defensive front is getting to Zach Mills just quickly enough to force Mills to put the ball up early down the field.
High formation. And a delay to Larry Johnson. Maybe that run on the last play of the half got him going. And that's 10 yards on that carry. Travaris Robinson and Carlos Rogers combining on the stop. Another first down for Penn State out to the 39-yard line. The Nittany Lions lead 6-0 in the opening minutes of the 3rd quarter.
This Tiger defensive unit very fast, very quick from sideline to sideline in their pursuit. But if you don't possess the ball on offense, as we look at LJ pound away between the tackles, if you don't possess the ball and use some clock on offense, it's only a matter of time before this Nittany Lion offensive line starts creating some holes and wearing you down up front.
Delay again. This time Johnson trying to run to the right. And nothing doing. It's been a terrific year for that offensive line. As you mentioned earlier, widely criticized last year when Penn State struggled through its 2nd straight losing season. Some of those players have really blossomed individually and they've gelled together. Joe Iorio, the center, came to Penn State as a walk-on in 1999 and became a starter in his 1st season as a true freshman, the first true freshman walk-on ever to start at Penn State under Joe Paterno. He had never met Joe Paterno before he arrived on the campus. And this year he had a terrific season. High floating pass. Intended, we think, for Tony Johnson.
Tough to tell on that ball. I mean, that was a big-time misfire by Zach Mills, and the wind is really kicking up down on field level.
Now we have next, the Bowl Championship Series kicks off on ABC. Oklahoma takes on Washington State in the Rose Bowl, presented by PlayStation 2. Then Georgia and Florida State in the Nokia Sugar Bowl. The BCS next on ABC Sports Championship Television.
You know, Sean, in that Sugar Bowl game, Fabian Walker will get the start. Ricks, of course, a quarterback suspended. If Ricks would have been playing in that game, I thought Florida State had a chance to blow Georgia out. It shapes up as a real interesting ball game.
The reverse on the handoff to Gerald Smith with some blockers. And he stopped very near the first down marker by Mark Brown and Junior Rosegreen. Good recovery by the Auburn defense. And it looked like they stopped Smith, who can fly about a half yard, maybe a full yard short of the first down.
When Mike Mayock talked to Tommy Tuberville, the Auburn head coach, before the half, he said, we're going to use some misdirection. Penn State gets to the playbook a little bit quicker. And The reverse. Once again, the speed of the Auburn Tigers defense closing things down in a hurry.
Zach Mills also trying to block on that reverse. And on 4th and 1, Penn State will punt from near midfield. David Royer punting for the 3rd time to Roderick Hood, who's standing at his own 12-yard line. Short wobbly punt caught at the 19. And returned to the 27. Joe Iorio, the snapper, made the tackle, a 33-yard punt.
BMW Z4 Roadster, the ultimate driving machine.
For a limited time, lease the new BMW Z4 2.5i for $399 a month.
Olive loaf, pig's feet.
Squid's awesome.
Tofu toast points, pierogies.
Some odd choices have been appearing on some value menus.
The box nuts are nice.
Deviled eggs.
Try the egg salad.
You like melon balls?
Grilled cheese.
But not at Wendy's. Our super value menu has hot and juicy junior bacon cheeseburgers, crispy chicken nuggets, chili hot baked potatoes. All the things you really love for just 99 cents each.
Fish balls, meatballs, chicken balls.
The super value menu at Wendy's. The best 99 cents you can spend.
Still doing those bills, hon?
Just resting with a credit card balance. You've been feeding on those high interest rates.
I just switched our balance over to a Capital One no-hassle card. You're gonna save $500 a year.
$500?
Switch your high-interest balance to the Capital One no-hassle card for the nation's lowest long-term fixed rates. You could save up to $500 a year.
What's in your wallet?
When a friend is in need of a rescue, Sidney Bristow holds nothing back, even when there's no way out. A new Alias, ABC Sunday.
Thousands of Penn State fans have made the trip down here to sunny Orlando, and they're having a great time. Their team leading 6-0 early in the 3rd quarter. Auburn shut out in the 1st half for the first time this year, trying to get something rolling on the first possession of the 2nd half. Ronnie Brown finds some running room along the far sideline and goes out of bounds near 1st down yardage, tackled by Jimmy Kennedy. Brown rushed for 65 yards in the 1st half and has 9 on that carry.
Cadillac Williams went down against Florida. You could just feel the Auburn faithful earlier in the year, a collective sigh, but Ronnie Brown came in and actually picked up the pace at tailback. And I think it's been surprising this afternoon, the success that Ronnie Brown has had against this Penn State front so far.
There he goes again. Great blocking. Big holes and a 1st down. Out to the 48-yard line. Brian Scott made the tackle. Ronnie Brown, as I mentioned earlier, drafted by the Seattle Mariners out of high school in Cartersville, Georgia. Sure he's not alone among college football players, with his favorite actress being Halle Berry.
I thought those were 2 solid favorites, Steak and Halle Berry.
Tough to go wrong with those choices.
Nope.
Tight end Cooper Wallace, the move man. Brown ahead for 2 to the 50-yard line. Tamba Ali made the tackle. Here's John Saunders.
John, Texas has a big breakout game today. A little trickery here on the reverse of the end around 39 yards. Roy Williams takes it in. So Chris Sims, who struggled in the Cotton Bowl, has a pretty good game today, going out in his final game of his collegiate career. 35-20, Texas a winner over LSU.
Disappointing season for Texas. They had national championship aspirations, but a nice way to finish. Here's Brown, still on his feet, finally driven back as he got to the 1st down marker, very close to it, inside the 43. They'll mark him short of the 43. Appears to be about a half yard shy of the 1st down. Gino Capone and Rich Gardner combined on the stop.
Capone with a real nice year at that inside linebacker spot for Penn State, tied for second with 80 tackles, and that traditional roughneck Penn State linebacker sitting inside.
Brown runs outside and gets the first down on 3rd and inches. He's down to the 38-yard line. Capone was a player who, coming into this year, had not been much of a factor. He had 16 tackles last season. He had 80, as David mentioned, to be among the team leaders this year. Junior from Ashland, Pennsylvania, but he's already graduated from Penn State in 3.5 years. Just graduated in December with a degree in Management Science and Information Systems. Auburn on the move. Brown following the fullback, Brandon Johnson. Nice block by Johnson and a nice run by Brown. Down to the 19-yard line. First down, by far the most impressive drive of the game for Auburn. That's a gain of 19. The tackle made by the quarterback, Brian Scott.
And you can sense some lack of comfort on the Penn State sideline. Joe Paterno, defensive coordinator Tom Bradley. This is classic Auburn football 2002. And they take it into the 2003 calendar season. Ronnie Brown starting to get big chunks on the ground. And this offensive line starting to have some success with the straight ahead running game.
Trey Smith takes over, giving Brown a breather. And Smith goes down to the 15, 4 more on the run. Tamba Hali made the tackle. So it's been 7 plays on this drive for Auburn, all of them carries by the tailback. The first 6 from Brown, and then that one by the true freshman Smith.
And you talk about the great pride that the Penn State offensive line can have, creating a 2,000-yard rushing year for Larry Johnson. As we look at Tom Bradley, the defensive coordinator for Penn State, how about this offensive line for Auburn? And all 3 tailbacks, when you combine their yardage, as Mike Mayock said earlier, over 2,000 yards.
They keep it on the ground with Smith. Nice cut back toward the inside for 4 more yards down to the 11. Tamba Ali made another tackle. He's a backup true freshman, highly recruited player out of Teaneck, New Jersey. He's been in on 3 or 4 tackles on this Auburn drive. One of only 3 true freshmen to play for Penn State this year.
We talked to Tommy Tuberville about the Penn State defensive front, and we asked him, are you worried about having the typical run successes you had over the course of the year? He said, hey, against Georgia and Alabama, those defensive fronts were every bit as talented as this front. And we expect to continue to run the ball well.
Legal substitution against the offense. Broke the huddle with 12 players. 5-yard penalty. Still 3rd down.
Bobby Petrino, the offensive coordinator, hollering at Cooper Wallace, one of the extra tight ends who was on the field in that short yardage situation. It's not as short now. 3rd down and 7.
And that's a critical mistake, because on 3rd and 7, as opposed to 3rd and 2, you take Ronnie Brown out of the picture in terms of your play calling. The handoff to Ronnie Brown now is not really going to get it done. You got to get him involved some other way, and most likely in the passing game.
8th penalty of the game, and now a timeout. Burned by Auburn.
On January 7th, own the ultimate experience of the year's #1 thriller.
There's a monster outside my room. Can I have a glass of water?
With deleted scenes and incredible bonus features, it's the one DVD you have to own. Mel Gibson.
It's happening. Don't be afraid.
M. Night Shyamalan's Signs. Own it on video and Vista Series DVD January 7th.
BMW Z4 Roadster, the ultimate driving machine.
For a limited time, lease the new BMW Z4 2.5i for $399 a month.
Honey, Jerry's on the phone.
okay?
It's good to do things yourself, but you ought to do your homework first. Same thing with the stock market. That's why TD Waterhouse offers you tools to compare thousands of stocks and mutual funds.
Honey?
Because you got to learn before you can earn.
TD Waterhouse, you're in control.
The Capital One Bowl. This ABC Sports exclusive presentation brought to you by Capital One. What's in your wallet? Circuit City. We're with you. And the new BMW Z4 Roadster, the ultimate driving machine.
Auburn driving at the moment. Joe Paterno's defense trying to stop the Tigers on 3rd down and 7 from the 16-yard line. 9th play of the drive. They've had the ball for more than 4.5 minutes. Here comes a Penn State blitz. Campbell takes off. 1st down at the 5-yard line. Anthony Adams pulled him down. That's an 11-yard run by Jason Campbell. 1st and goal for Auburn.
That's a great job by Jason Campbell recognizing the safety blitz, and he's going to end up taking the ball on foot right back into that void. Watch him pull the football down, decisive move, and then stretches forward for the 1st down. Great recognition by Jason Campbell at quarterback.
Now Brown, the tailback, inside the 3. Another tackle by Anthony Adams. We talked earlier about what a character Anthony Adams is, and you mentioned he came up to us at the banquet. He says at the end of every practice, when Joe Paterno calls the squad together to give them their final thoughts for the practice, when Joe's done, he gives the 76-year-old coach a pat right on the rear end. Nice talk, coach. I don't think there are many who get away with that, but
he's using a little self-promotion, self-marketing with us. He said he didn't say my name's Anthony Adams. He said I'm 98, number 98, Penn State.
Showing himself today. Excellent penetration by Scott Paxson, a redshirt freshman. They alternate backup linebackers sometimes based on what they're expecting. Tom Bradley said it's Paxson who'll play in a lot of run situations, and he did it well that time.
Well, Tom Bradley says that they've got some good kids at that position. They're a little bit stiff and a little bit more well suited to the run passing situations. Oftentimes they'll go ahead and bring Anwar Phillips in as an extra defensive back at that position.
Well, Jimmy Mitchell is a linebacker. There's Brown lunging for the goal line. He extended the ball. No signal. 4th down now, says the official running in from the near side. And his colleague on the far side concurred. He extended the ball after his knee was down. Anthony Adams might get a pat on the back in return from Joe Paterno after this touchdown saving stop.
Ronnie Brown running tough up inside. Let's take a look. Boy, looked like he extended the football over the goal line clearly. You got to keep in mind Neal's knee goes down, but that looked like a touchdown.
Now back live. Brown touchdown this time. They went for it on 4th and goal from inside the line, and Brown just did get it into the end zone, the 1st touchdown in this game.
Very fitting for Ronnie Brown to finish off that drive. He was sensational throughout that drive down the football field. And the offensive line for Auburn takes control here late in the 3rd quarter.
12th rushing touchdown of this season for Ronnie Brown. 13 plays on the drive, all of them on the ground, 74 yards, 6 minutes and 48 seconds, and now Duval for the lead. Despite his kicking problems, he has made 125 consecutive extra points now. Ronnie Brown with the touchdown, Duval the extra point, and Auburn leads for the first time today, 7-6.
Pontiac. Fuel for the soul.
What have you been up to, Mr. Moneybags?
It's okay. I put it on the credit card.
Those interest charges are going to get us.
Don't worry. It's our new Capital One No Hassle card.
The Capital One No Hassle card has the nation's lowest long-term fixed rates, $0 fraud liability, and no telemarketing.
What's in your wallet?
Let's do it. Let's do it.
Oh, come on. Catch the ball before you run with it. Let's
Basketball 101. Basketball 101.
Tackle somebody. Tackle somebody now.
Oh, what are you doing? There you go. Just like we drew it up.
Tangled up with Road.
Hey, stay in the lane. Stay in the lane.
Body on somebody.
Knock him down.
Get out of the trees. No, just hit somebody. No, Danny, go.
It's a disgrace. They ought to be ashamed of themselves.
Now that's what I'm talking about.
You're watching the Capital One Bowl on ABC Sports.
Auburn has the lead, but just barely. Damon Duvall's extra point was deflected by Derek Wake, who blocked a field goal earlier.
And Derek Wake almost saved the tie game for the Nittany Lions. Look at that vertical. 6'3", 232 pounds.
Duvall has never missed an extra point, but became dangerously close. That was what was so frustrating to Tommy Tuberville about Duvall's miss at the end of that Florida game on a 23-yard field goal from right in the middle of the field. It's just like an extra point, and he had never missed one of those. But he kicked one low into the line. Florida blocked it and wound up winning that game in overtime, a crushing defeat for the Tigers. Here's Tony Johnson running back the kickoff, and he got belted down shy of the 20-yard line by Travis Williams. The Pontiac performance drive summary, and what a performance it was. 13 plays all on the ground, 10 of the carries for 60 yards by the touchdown scorer, Ronnie Brown. Penn State on offense, trailing for the first time today when we come back.
Thrifty.com. Great cars, great rates, 24/7.
My people, today we meet our destiny to give every man, woman, and child a chance to taste victory! Yummy, gooey, cinnamon-covered Domino's Dots. Are you with me?
New Domino's Dots taste so good, we want to give everyone a chance to try them. So now, we're giving you an order free when you buy a large one-topping pizza for $9.99, only from Domino's. I love this job. Get the door, quick. It's free Domino's Dots.
Jim! Hey, Mikey. There's our TV, 57-inch widescreen. Looks even better than last week.
Can we take it home this time?
Therein lies the problem, Peter. The minute we take it home, I'm going to see it on sale.
You know, with Circuit City's Price Match Plus, you don't have to worry about that.
Huh.
Don't worry, take it home. And right now at Circuit City, buy any big screen TV and get free delivery, guaranteed in time for the BCS Championship game. Circuit City, we're with you.
Thrifty.com. Great cars, great rates, 24/7.
I am the mole.
I am the mole.
I could be the mole. I'm always the mole.
7 celebrities will play. 1 will betray them all.
Oh my God! I am mole-licious.
Celebrity Mole Hawaii. Next Wednesday, 10/9 Central on ABC.
Well, Penn State will have to come back from this 1-point deficit to keep the Big Ten perfect in this bowl season. Michigan a winner over Florida today in Tampa in the Outback Bowl. So the Big Ten now 4-0 with the wins by Wisconsin, Minnesota, Purdue, and the Wolverines. Iowa and Ohio State still to play in the BCS action here on ABC. There's a sack for Jay Ratliff as he took down Zach Mills on 1st and 10. It's a fired up Auburn cheering section now after that touchdown to take the lead. And the sophomore Valdosta, Georgia, Jay Ratliff delivers the sack.
And Penn State, feeling the pressure, deciding to go right back with a first down pass down the field. And Auburn with all the quickness, particularly the defensive ends on that front defensive four, and Ratliff closing in the pocket in a hurry.
Casey Williams, the starting tight end, injured on that play for Penn State, being helped to his feet, favoring his left arm. He's from a great Penn State family. His dad, Tom, Uncle Frank, and brother Tom all played at Penn State. Casey, not a real big guy to be a tight end in this day and age. 5'11", 237. Fran Gander said everybody says he's not big enough, he's not fast enough, but he's a great technician, very smart, and a very capable tight end.
Yeah, Sean, we're talking about Big Ten staying undefeated in bowl play, and in the Orange and the Fiesta, the two toughest assignments belong to Iowa and then Ohio State.
Mills again scrambling, in trouble, out of bounds. Dangerously close to a late hit was Dontarius Thomas, as Mills ran out back inside the 10-yard line.
Now, another great play by this Auburn Tiger defense, flowing. They've done a great job with Zach Mills with the exception of the long option run, and that's a needless play by Dontarius right there. I mean, he really should have picked up a 15-yard penalty. No need to lay that contact on number 7 out of bounds. And Auburn picked up at least 3 of those in the first half. Can't do that when you have the Nittany's pinned up against their own goal line.
Trying to see the chain gang official members back on his feet and okay. Loss of 5 on that play. Penn State in reverse. 3rd down. They need to get to Altoona for a first down. Mills throws it away out of the end zone, and he got belted. Reggie Torber delivered the hit. Well, Larry Johnson's their best player. And on that possession with a lot of time to go, they came out pass, pass, pass. Johnson didn't touch the ball at all. And it's a disastrous possession for Penn State.
Well, Auburn dropped back into pass coverage. They dropped 7, and Mills had a lot of time until Torbor arrived. And Torbor really laid the wood to him in the back corner of the end zone.
David Royer standing in the middle of the end zone. Punts it away from Broderick Hood, who took it on the bounce at the 50. And is tackled at the 45-yard line by Brian Scott. 42-yard punt and a 6-yard return.
The PGA Tour on ABC returns February 20th.
As we enter a new year, Jack Ingram Nissan gives you another reason to be happy.
Zero down deal.
Keep your cash and drive away in a new Nissan with nothing, absolutely zero out of pocket. Lease a stylish Altima 2.5S, 0 down, only $299 a month. Drive a roomy Pathfinder SE, 0 down, only $349 a month. Or lease a rugged Frontier XC truck, 0 down, only $299 a month. Plus, qualified buyers get 0.9% APR. Happy New Year from Jack Ingram Nissan, Montgomery.
Hi, I am Max.
I am Max. And I am Max.
I'm Max, too.
We're Max!
Our trusted financial services are now available to everyone in the Tri-County community. Taking care of you is what we do. We're Max, your community credit union.
WNCF-TV wants you to have a safe and happy New Year.
Has won 3 of the last 4 Capital One Bowls. Tennessee beat Michigan here last year. Lorenzo Diamond on the reception, the first pass of the half from Jason Campbell. And Gino Capone made the tackle, but it's a gain to the 33-yard line and a first down for Auburn on a pickup of 12.
Jason Campbell really excels with his execution in the backfield, especially his faking. He's really a cameraman's nightmare. And on that play fake, on the sweep to the left side, disguised the football well, and then puts the ball right on the money to Diamond.
Formation with Brown the tailback. Campbell stumbled as he handed the ball off, and it's a 2-yard loss as Jimmy Kennedy smothered Brown outside the 35-yard line.
Going to take a look at the stumble here. Jason Campbell, and that isn't fun as a quarterback when one of the big heavies up front steps on your foot. That hurts. And Penn State, after that last drive, with Auburn controlling the ball on the ground, they're creeping a safety up near the line of scrimmage to get an extra man in the box.
Play action pass. Campbell looking for Trey Smith out of the backfield. He lined up offset as they got both tailbacks, Smith and Brown, in the game. They got a linebacker in coverage. That's what Auburn was looking for, but Campbell's throw did not connect with Trey Smith.
And if you're throwing the ball long down the sideline to a running back, it's going to take extra time for that tailback to get depth. And Haynes, arriving in a hurry, did not give Jason Campbell time to let the picture develop down the field to Trey Smith.
3rd down and 12. 3 receivers and Brown lined up to the left of Campbell, who operates out of the shotgun. Just a 4-man rush. A bullet by Campbell. Very close to the first down marker with the forward progress for Robert Johnson. They drove him back across the 25, but it looks like they're going to spot it near the 23-yard line. And it might require a measurement.
And this is always a gray area. You got the side judge and the line judge, and they're not at the same level as the receiver. So they've got to come down and just take a crack at figuring where that spot should be. And this was a generous spot for the Auburn Tigers.
Chris Harrell put the hit on Johnson. And they marked that ball inside the 24. I don't think Auburn can complain about that spot, but still they're inches short. But with the field goal problems for David Duvall, I think this is a no-brainer. And the way they're running the ball so effectively, you have to go for it.
And you got Jason Campbell. Remember Jason Campbell? He was a parade All-American out of Mississippi. Great athlete in high school, both as a football player and as a basketball player. He's first-team All-State in basketball from the state of Mississippi, and he's always a great option on a sneak, either going low or up over the top with his jumping ability.
4th and inches. Time for that highly touted Penn State defensive front to rise to the occasion. It is the sneak. If he got it, it wasn't by much. He got belted immediately by Jimmy Kennedy. Kennedy absolutely unloaded on Jason Campbell.
And Kennedy got great penetration early, and that's what short yardage defense is all about. And look at the safeties converging to finish things off. Mayer, and what a play by Kennedy. I don't think he picked it up. If he did, it was just by the nose of the football.
And again, I think he got a pretty good spot.
Yeah, he's taking another look.
They stopped him by that much. Jimmy Kennedy with a huge defensive play.
And we talked about him not being devastating as a pass rusher, but against the run, he's as good an inside defensive line player as you'll find across the country.
And now a change at quarterback for the Nittany Lions. Michael Robinson, the redshirt freshman from Richmond, Virginia, takes over for Zach Mills. Mills was 5 out of 16 passing for just 44 yards. And they haven't gotten the running game going either. They rushed for just 111. Quarterback draw. And Robinson tumbles out near the 28-yard line. Carlos Dansby tripped him up. I mentioned they've used Robinson this year at quarterback, running back, slotted wide receiver. He's thrown just 14 passes this year. He has rushed 45 times. He's their second leading rusher on the season behind Larry Johnson, and he's had 7 receptions, so he's done it all.
And he's really a load at 6'3", 231 when you mix in the speed, but this Auburn defense pretty well equipped to handle a running quarterback with the speed that they possess.
Here coming a blitz. Larry Johnson managed to lunge to the 30 for a short gain. Dontarius Thomas made the tackle. Robinson with a bit of history earlier in the year. He scored a touchdown on 3 consecutive running plays against Louisiana Tech. 3 times in a row when he carried the ball, he got into the end zone. Only the 5th player in NCAA history to do that is Michael Robinson.
I'm not so sure as time winds down here whether that Michael Robinson is scheduled to go the rest of the way. This might be a 1-series substitution. We'll have to wait and see.
Certainly Zach Mills has been a huge part of the Penn State success this season. He's looking on at the moment. End of the 3rd quarter. Auburn leads Penn State 7-6. ABC Sports presentation of the Capital One Bowl will return after this message and word from our ABC stations.
The 2003 Pontiac Grand Am. Fuel for the soul.
For men, every morning it's the same routine. The desperate search for a way to relieve the pain after shaving. There's a better way to soothe your skin. Nivea for Men Aftershave Balm is an advanced blend of moisturizers and vitamins that soothe and actually improve your skin. Nivea for Men, more evolved skincare.
What is wrong with you?
The 2003 Pontiac Vibe. Fuel for the soul.
The Mavs, the league's hottest team, led by high-scoring Dirk Nowitzki, take on Allen Iverson and the Sixers, Saturday at 1 Eastern. The NBA on ABC. We got hoops.
As we enter a new year, Jack Ingram Nissan gives you another reason to be happy. Zero down deals. Keep your cash and drive away in a new Nissan with nothing, absolutely zero out of pocket. Lease a stylish Altima 2.5S. Zero down, only $299 a month. Drive a roomy Pathfinder SE. Zero down, only $349 a month. Or lease a rugged Frontier XC truck. Zero down, only $299 a month. Plus, qualified buyers get 0.9% APR. Happy New Year from Jack Ingram Nissan, Montgomery.
Hi, I am Max.
I am Max. And I am Max.
I'm Max too.
We're Max!
Our trusted financial services are now available to everyone in the Tri-County community. Taking care of you is what we do. We're Max, your community credit union.
WNCF-TV wants you to have a safe and happy New Year.
This is the Capital One Bowl.
Back for the 4th quarter. The Capital One Bowl in Orlando. 3rd down and 4. Penn State trailing by a point from their own 30. Lots of faking. Now Robinson sees a seam, bounces off a hit. That got him the 1st down. If they knocked him down where they first hit him, Auburn had them stopped. But the Nittany Lions moved the chains on the gain out to the 37-yard line. Carlos Dansby hit him but did not knock him down, and then Horace Willis finally did make the tackle.
It's so difficult for a defense to keep track of a quarterback on a passing play because you do not have a defender assigned to the quarterback. And just a great play by Robinson to pull the football down, find a crease, and move the chains.
Larry Johnson has just 5 carries here in the 2nd half. And they pitch it to him for his 6th, and he slips down. shy of the 40-yard line. Let's go down to the field and check in with Mike Mayock.
Hey, Sean, as you said a little while ago, Michael Robinson has played tailback. He's played wide receiver. He's played quarterback. He's been valuable everywhere. I spoke to Fran Ganner a few weeks ago and said, what happens this spring? And Fran laughed and said, make no mistake about it. This kid's a quarterback. He expects to compete with Zach Mills this spring, and I think that's what you're going to see, Sean.
Only a good problem for the coaching staff to have. Both very talented football players. 2nd and 7. Larry Johnson, averaging 167 yards per game, has been held 100 yards under that average and change. He has 65 yards today. Horrible throw. Late flag thrown in the offensive backfield. Robinson threw that right at Junior Rosegreen, who almost had the interception. It was a little bit too low for him. And it might be a holding call against the Nittany Lions.
And this holding call, not real convenient with the Michael Robinson in the game. Zach Mills gives you a little bit better ability to pick up long yardage situations with the pass.
Running offense. 10-yard penalty. Repeat, 2nd down.
And Sean, we talked to Tommy Tuberville as we take a look at Joe Paterno across the field. We talked to Tommy Tuberville yesterday, and he said, the one thing we are not going to do is let Larry Johnson and this big Penn State offensive line run the football at us all afternoon and control the ball on the ground. We're going to find out if Zach Mills can throw the football.
Well, I bet there were 6 other head coaches who said that in the last 6 games of the regular season.
That's true.
And all Johnson did was go for an average of 233 per game, and those 6.
They didn't quite get it done, did they?
No. On 2nd and long, Robinson throwing into one-on-one coverage. Tony Johnson has it. He beat Roderick Hood for a big gain and a first down to the 37-yard line of Auburn. They'll give him the 36. 34-yard gain.
Beautiful throw in the wind. And this is a straight fade route. Tony Johnson does a great job at the end of this route of using his body to seal off the defender and leave room towards the sideline for the catch. Now, that's a great athletic play by Tony Johnson. And a badly needed play for the Nittany Lions. And this type of play loosens up the secondary and gives you some room to run the football.
Early in the 4th quarter, Penn State down a point. The screen was hurried by the pressure. Johnson slips down again. Larry Johnson's had a tough time with the footing. They had to get rid of that pass. Did Robinson a bit more quickly than he wanted to because Reggie Torbor was right in his face. They couldn't really give the screen enough time to develop.
Even if they do complete that pass, Auburn was not fooled. Auburn had plenty of defenders in position to go after LJ. And once again, Torbor in the backfield. The number 82 for Auburn has had a big day and has done a great job rushing the passer, both Zach Mills and Robinson.
Torbor's a junior from Baton Rouge. Excellent speed rusher. He's had a couple of very big games this year. Play action fake to Johnson. Robinson has running room. Look at him run. First down inside the 20. DeMarco McNeil finally able to run him down from behind. And he took off like he had something strapped on his back. A 20-yard gain for Robinson, who certainly has given the Nittany Lions a spark.
Now, Robinson is very hard to handle for linebackers and especially defensive backs. I mean, he's looking for Tony Johnson down the right side. Johnson didn't look back for the football. Robinson makes a great play to pull the football down. And as a defensive back, you got a quarterback 232 pounds running about a 4.45. Not easy to bring down in the open field.
From the 19 back to Larry Johnson. Running hard. One of his few good gains today, a 9-yard run. Lene Young, a backup safety, made the tackle. That gets the Penn State fans into it as finally Larry Johnson finds a little running room.
What a super job by Michael Robinson to come off the bench in his opening series.
When we talked with Joe Paterno yesterday about Larry Johnson, he said the difference was at the beginning of the year, he just tried to run over everybody. He had a linebacker mentality. When he learned to use some finesse, run inside and out, run around people rather than through them all the time, is when he really made that transformation from good back to great back. He's dropped for a loss on that play by Spencer Johnson, who penetrated the offensive line and dropped the play back at the 12. Turno said it was a bit too much of a macho man attitude that Johnson used to have, and once he made the mental change, he became a much better all-around running back.
Larry Johnson's father, who we already mentioned, defensive line coach for Penn State, says that his son is going to fool a lot of the scouts when he runs 40 times. Great speed in the open field, and not a lot of people figured that coming into the season.
Timeout called by Penn State. 10th play of the drive upcoming. They started at their own 24. They're looking for a go-ahead score.
Hey, Don! Hey, what's up? You going to Tommy's party? I can't. I'm working. Oh, break.
The Dodge SXTs. 4 cool cars. And you won't have to work 2 jobs just to buy one.
Don, you made it!
I like your hat.
Grab Dodge's 770 powertrain limited warranty. Ford, Chevy, and Toyota don't match it.
Another holiday on the credit card, huh?
Yeah, my balance is really piling up. But I'll worry about that in January.
You could get a Capital One no hassle card.
Nah. I need you!
High interest charges running up your balance? Get the Capital One No Hassle Card for the nation's lowest long-term fixed rates, $0 fraud liability, and no telemarketing.
What's in your wallet?
Spin, spin, spin the globe. It's your turn to spin the globe.
All around the world, Siemens is energizing the cities and towns we live in. We engineer new ways to efficiently generate, distribute, and use power. And by providing energy to people everywhere, we're giving them the power to live better.
Spin, spin, spin the globe. It's your turn to spin the globe.
Cap off your New Year's Day with a battle in the Big Easy. Georgia faces Florida State in the Milk Your Sugar Bowl tonight, 8:30 Eastern on ABC.
The field goal would give Penn State the lead again, but they're thinking about a touchdown with just under 11 minutes remaining in the 4th quarter. 3rd down and 3 for the Nittany Lions, just outside the Auburn 12. 3 wide receivers. Sean McHugh, the running back, he's a fullback. Blocks for Robinson, looked like a design run, and they are not fooled that time. A loss back to the 15. Reggie Torbor, another big play. Robinson outstanding on the drive, 2 for 2 passing for 31 yards and 4 carries for 28 yards, even with that 3-yard loss.
And with the timeout, Gene Chizik, defensive coordinator for Auburn Tigers, very clear that he talked to his defensive players and said, play the run by Michael Robinson. They locked on man-to-man outside and played the quarterback run. And now the field goal attempt.
Which would give Penn State the lead again. 2 out of 3 today is Robbie Gould. This is his first from the middle of the field. The other 3 came from hash marks. This one is good from 32 yards out. Flag now to the line of scrimmage.
That flag came in late after the kick. And Auburn players pointing to the Penn State side of the line of scrimmage.
Personal foul that came after the field goal, so the kick is good. Gould 3 for 4 on the day, and Penn State has the lead. They still have not scored a touchdown.
Get the offense. Field goal is good. Penalty will be assessed on the kickoff.
Penn State 9, Auburn 7, 10-10 remaining at the Capital One Bowl in Orlando.
Jim! Hey, Mikey. There's our TV, 57-inch widescreen. Looks even better than last week.
Can we take it home this time?
Therein lies the problem, Peter. The minute we take it home, I'm gonna see it on sale.
You know, with Circuit City's Price Match Plus, you don't have to worry about that.
Huh.
Don't worry, take it home. And right now at Circuit City, buy any big screen TV and get free delivery, guaranteed in time for the BCS Championship game. Circuit City, we're with you.
The all-new Dodge Ram Heavy Duties with the power of a new 5.7-liter Hemi Magnum V8 or an available high-output Cummins turbo diesel. It's the most powerful line of trucks in the universe. Make that the most powerful line of trucks on Earth. Ram Heavy Duty. Enough muscle to grab Motor Trend's 2003 Truck of the Year award.
I see linebackers blitz, cornerbacks too, cartwheels and splits, and foam-fingered fools. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. I see guys who kick, girls who cheer, picture in picture, and ice-cold beer. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world.
The Capital One Bowl. This ABC Sports exclusive presentation brought to you by Capital One. What's in your wallet? Dodge. You can take life as it comes, or you can grab life by the horns. Dodge. PlayStation 2. And Aflac. Ask about it at work.
A spectacular New Year's Day in Orlando, Florida, and an exciting Capital One Bowl, especially if you like defense. Penn State has reclaimed the lead 9-7 as David Kimball kicks off. After the penalty, he kicked off from the 20-yard line. The kickoff was dropped for a moment by Roderick Hood, and Auburn really doesn't take advantage of that penalty on the kickoff. The field position just the 25-yard line. Alan Zamitis made the tackle for Penn State.
NFL Game Day 2003. Now play it online. Log on and compete against anyone, anytime, anywhere. Rated E for everyone.
989 Sports.
The 7-layer nachos from Taco Bell. So much flavor for so little price. You may become a 7-flavor optimist.
You mind? Knock yourself out.
7-layer nachos at just 99 cents. Get all the flavor of 7 intense taste stacked on golden chips. They're a value. Down to the very last bite. To get more flavor for 99 cents, think outside the bun.
Avaya. What is it? First, what it's not. A Caribbean island? Welcome to Avaya.
Yeah! Avaya! Everybody say Avaya!
Avaya. Avaya is a state of pure communications perfection. Here you find IP telephony for about the price of a standard PBX upgrade. And the biggest, most experienced communication services team, hands down. Oh, still not sure what Avaya is? Ask over 90% of Fortune 500 companies. Go on. They know. Reach Avaya, a higher plane of communication.
ABC Sports, home of the Bowl Championship Series, presents continuing coverage of the Capital One Bowl.
9:58 remaining in the fourth quarter. Auburn has the only touchdown in this game, but the Tigers trail 9-7. They have it 1st and 10 on their own 26-yard line. Both tailbacks in the game. Ronnie Brown and Trey Smith. They shift into an I with Brown in front of Smith as Campbell moved under center. And hands it to Trey Smith for a short gain. Time for the Dodge defensive playbook.
And so far, the play of the game turned in by Jimmy Kennedy in its defensive tackle position. Nittany Lions trailing. Watch the penetration from Jimmy Kennedy, number 73, inside. Just blows up the play, stuffs Jason Campbell, a 220-pound quarterback, Watch the quickness by Kennedy inside. Auburn was leading by a point at that time, and they cash in with a field goal to take the lead after that play.
Well, they have Brandon Johnson back in at fullback in front of Ronnie Brown. Big hole. Brown out to the 43-yard line. Tackled by the safety, Sean Mayer and Chris Harrell. First down, Auburn on a gain of 15.
Now this Auburn offensive line has had great success in the second half, and they're wearing down this talented defensive front. Ronnie Brown, such a great combination of physical runner with the ability to make the long run. He had a great 53-yard touchdown run against Georgia to get things started in that football game back in late November. Both of these tailbacks for Auburn capable of ripping off big runs.
On 1st and 10, Brown out to the 46-yard line. Here's Mike Mayock.
Thanks, Sean. I'm with John Finneran, Executive Vice President and General Counsel for Capital One. And John, Capital One is heavily involved nationally in the bowl scene, but they also give back locally, don't they?
Absolutely. We're really excited to be here today. But the best part of all is we get to fulfill our common mission with the Florida Citrus Sports Foundation, which is to help youth at risk in our local community. And a large part of the proceeds of today's game go to that effort.
And Sean, I can vouch, a large check handed over yesterday at our luncheon.
Yeah, we saw that check of $30,000 to the local foundation to help children's causes in this area. And I don't think John would admit it on camera, but I think he might be happy about the score. He's a Penn State graduate. But he said he was picked to represent Capital One here a long time ago, long before Penn State was chosen to play in the game.
He has to be a little bit anxious as Auburn moves the ball closer to midfield. And tell you what, this Auburn running game, as we said, underrated over the course of the season, but they picked up 2,000 yards by committee.
3rd down and 4. Four-man rush, well picked up. Campbell in trouble now and sacked. The typical coverage sack there. Campbell had time but couldn't find anybody, and John Bronson took him down.
Just a super job by Penn State in the secondary to lock on to the wide receivers. Campbell straight drop back, and this is really the situation that Jason Campbell is not real comfortable with. The 3rd down pass where he's dropping back in rhythm and having to throw from the pocket. Much better on the move, much more effective off of play action.
Damon Duval to punt. With 6 minutes and change left, a lot of time left, so Coach Tuberville trying to pin Penn State deep, and how about that? Down at the 1-yard line. Well, Duval's had a rocky season, but he got a great break there. That ball hit around the 1 and just stopped. And Rashad Walker downed it at the 1. A 53-yard punt, no return. That's the 3rd kick he's had downed at the 1 this year.
Son, you drive like my granny. Huh? That's no canned ham under the hood. That's 250 horses. Well, then pass them.
Dodge Intrepid SXT with best-in-class horsepower and a little racing attitude.
Man, I gotta go.
Grab Dodge's 770 powertrain limited warranty. Ford, Chevy, and Toyota don't match it.
Not too close. What do you think? I got that insurance?
What insurance is that, Yogi?
The one you really need to have. If you don't have it, that's why you need it.
Need what?
Aflac. Well, if you get hurt and miss work, it won't hurt to miss work. And they give you cash, which is just as good as money.
Aflac. Ask about it at work.
Here's an idea. How about integrity?
Tell the truth. That's easy. Just give it to me straight.
All we're asking for is a little honesty. You know what we deserve? Accountability.
These days, I need integrity.
I'm an investor.
I'm an investor.
So as an investor,
I have to be able to trust you.
At the New York Stock Exchange, we agree. So do 2,800 of the world's best companies that meet the highest standards. So every shareholder can invest with trust and confidence.
I think I deserve that.
Just
practicing for my new talk show. I'd like to welcome our next guest. How'd it go in there? We're having trouble getting guests on this show.
Jimmy Kimmel Live, late night starting Super Bowl Sunday on ABC.
Damon Duval had punts down to the one this year against LSU and Ole Miss. In consecutive weeks, the one against Ole Miss resulted in a safety. They'd love another one here. It would tie the game for Auburn. 9-7 as Penn State begins at the 1 with 6.5 to go. Paul Jefferson, the fullback, took it out to the 2. The junior from Wilkes-Barre. Part of a terrific fullback tandem. They've done a lot of the dirty work for Larry Johnson. Jefferson and Sean McHugh. Fran Ganter, the offensive coordinator, said, I can't imagine there's another duo that's any better than Jefferson and McHugh at fullback around the country.
And this is the biggest series of downs in the football game thus far. If Auburn can make a stop here with Roderick Hood and his punt returning ability, they'll have great field position and be set up for at least an opportunity to get into field goal range.
Robinson hesitated a moment, now fumbles. He hesitated in the end zone, then emerged from the end zone, got popped, and the ball went up in the air. And a wild scramble at the 6-yard line. Penn State got it back. Looked like one of the linemen caught that ball on the fly. It was the center, Joe Iorio.
You talk about second chances. Michael Robinson, this is a planned pass call, pulls it down again and does not secure the football. And this is basically a jump ball situation.
DeMarco McNeil knocked it out, and Iorio, what an athletic play to dive head first at 6'3", 297 pounds.
Big time play.
And take possession of that ball.
Wow, that's great athleticism from a center to make that play.
He's also a great student, 3.7 GPA as a first-team academic All-American. They had to throw on 3rd down, and the pass from Robinson was too high. Intended for Bryant Johnson. Joe Iorio, 3.7 GPA in information service and technology. As we mentioned, he came as a walk-on. His older brother Nick encouraged him not to accept going to a lower level of football on scholarship, follow his dream. He followed his dream to Penn State and has become a stalwart. Unfortunately, tragically, his brother has since passed away, and Joe has worn an armband over the years in memory of his brother. He has another brother, Tim, who's a medical student at Ohio State. Hood tripped up from behind by Brian Scott. The great field position for Auburn. Near the 40-yard line, down by 2.
Welcome to the finale of the Capital One All-America Mascot Pageant.
On behalf of ESPN, Capital One, and mascots everywhere, I'm proud to announce the Mascot of the Year. And the winner is Monty, University of Montana. There it is. It is their mascot, America. Woo!
What's in your wallet? Did you, madam, proceed to wear this shirt, knowing full well that your neighbor had already received this title? Well, indeed.
Your witness.
Your Honor, I have only one thing to present in defense of my client. The Dodge Caravan.
Proving once again, Dodge Caravan is the choice of great moms everywhere.
I told you we should have settled.
Grab Dodge's 770 powertrain limited warranty. Ford, Chevy, and Toyota don't match it.
The 7-layer nachos from Taco Bell. So much flavor for so little price, you may perform the 7-flavor tango. I don't think so. Get all the flavor of 7 intense taste stacked on golden chips. At just 99 cents, they're a value. Down to the very last bite.
Look, there's 2 left.
To get more flavor for 99 cents, think outside the bun.
For the first time ever, Oklahoma's in the Rose Bowl to battle Washington State. The Rose Bowl game presented by PlayStation 2. Coming up next on ABC.
Coming up after the Capital One Bowl, the Built Ford Tough pregame report to take you up to the Rose Bowl game presented by PlayStation 2. John and Terry will have highlights and analysis of today's games. And on we go to the Rose Bowl. On first down, Robert Johnson almost escaped, and he had lots of running room along the far sideline. The tight end took it to the 34, a gain of 6. 2nd and 4 for Auburn. Under 5 minutes to go, and now the field goal difficulties of Damon Duval really loom large. A field goal would give them the lead, but he's very shaky.
Trey Smith, the young tailback, was a hero in that late finale against Alabama, but Robert Johnson, the big tight end, had 2 touchdown catches in that football game, and a lot of talk about Johnson maybe going out early in the NFL draft.
On 2nd and 4, Ronnie Brown approaching 150 yards for the day. Stopped near the first down marker at the 30. He stayed in bounds, and so far the officials haven't stopped it for a measurement. Looks like he might be just a little bit short.
Ronnie Brown at 6'1", 217 pounds, packs as much of a punch at that size as any tailback in the country. I mean, he really brings it with the helmet and finishes off runs.
Marcus McNeil is the injured player. The true freshman tackles had a terrific freshman season from Ellenwood, Georgia. A giant of a man at 347 pounds. Bobby Petrino called him an amazing creature. Said he's arguably the best athlete they have on their team. Near the end of practice when they run sprints, McNeil's right there at the front. And there's Damon Duval. He's had his only field goal attempt today, blocked. He's had 4 blocked this year. He's now 6 for 15. Here's a guy who last year was an All-American place kicker and first team All-SEC both punting and kicking, and it's just come apart for him this season.
He's the first player in the history, the long history of the Southeastern Conference, to be named first team at 2 different positions. And the year before, Sean, he was first team All-SEC punter.
McNeil walks off. That's good to see. The road to the Super Bowl begins on ABC's Wild Card Saturday. First, it's the Jets against the Colts. And then in primetime, Michael Vick and the Falcons battle Brett Favre and the Packers. Our NFL Wild Card doubleheader gets underway at 4 Eastern following the Sixers-Mavericks game Saturday on ABC Sports Championship Television.
The conditions down on the field make it so tough on a quarterback. If you list the 3 inclement weather conditions, rain, snow, and wind is the toughest on a quarterback.
The breeze is across the field right now from Auburn's left to their right. The far side of the field of the near as we look upon it, slightly at the back of Auburn. On 3rd and 1, deep handoff. Brown has the first down. Down to the 26. Sean Mayer and Chris Harrell, the safeties, combining on the stop. 2 timeouts left for each team as we go under 4 minutes remaining, and they'll wind the clock as soon as the chains are reset.
Ronnie Brown is so great, shuffling his feet laterally and then picking the hole. Now, he's got great lateral ability, and then boom, he hits it straight ahead.
30 carries for 153 yards and a touchdown. The only TD of this game for Brown. He plows his way down to the 24-yard line. And the clock will approach 3 minutes. Near the next snap, Anthony Adams made the tackle. What an embarrassment of riches at tailback with Cadillac Williams, Ronnie Brown, Trey Smith. Williams rushed for 745. Brown over 800 this year. First Auburn duo to each rush for 700 plus since 1983. Bo Jackson and Lionel James. Brown hurdles a tackler inside the 20 and down near another first down. Chopped down by Chris Harrell. Where will they spot the ball? Looks to be near the 18-yard line, and it might be another 3rd and very short situation.
Great tailbacks have patience, and watch Ronnie Brown gear it down, sets up the block, and then a little quick hurdle over a tackler, finishes off the run with the shoulder.
Well, you can see today why the coaches went to a much more of a 2-back offense this year, because they wanted to get Brandon Johnson, the fullback, on the field more. He's a terrific lead blocker. He goes running ahead of Brown and leads the way for a touchdown. "17 yards. Auburn has the lead again, and it looks like they'll go for 2. They've asked for the ball to be put on the left hash mark. They'll go for 2 to try to take a 6-point lead. 5 points with 2:19 remaining really doesn't do you much good.
Yeah, and this is not a clear-cut decision here either way. I don't like going for 2 here because it only puts you up by 6 points. I say take the point and play on.
Campbell. Oh, the receiver didn't see it coming. I don't know what Marcel Willis was looking at. Well, the ball went right by him. Campbell escaped the pressure.
Yeah, it looked like Campbell got hit from behind and forced the throw behind the intended receiver. Pressure in the pocket from the Penn State defense. Well, what a victory for the Auburn offensive line on this drive.
I wonder if that little space of sunlight caused Willis the problem. That's the only thing I can think of. That's a low sun that's coming through the middle part of the stadium, and perhaps he missed it because of the sun shining in his face. Let's ask Mike Mayock about that.
Hey, Sean, I'm right down here, right where the receiver was, and looking back, there was no sun at all. That was not a problem. He just didn't expect to see the football.
And sometimes a wide receiver will get his eyes trained back as the ball's in flight. And on second view here, this is a terrific play by Campbell to even get the ball in the neighborhood. And Willis just didn't get his eyes back in time.
I would respectfully disagree with you about the decision to go for 2. To me, being ahead by 5 doesn't do you any good with this little time left. 6, if you get it, at least if Penn State scores a touchdown and misses the extra point, you're in a tie and you're going overtime.
But there's also the other thought that if Penn State comes down and scores a touchdown and there's 2 scores, there's additional scores in the game, then all of a sudden you want that point back up on the board.
Perhaps, but with this little time left, it's hard to think that there'd be that much scoring. The ball goes out of play, so Duval has his woes continue in virtually every way imaginable. It's a shame that his career is ending after so many highlights earlier in his career.
Brandon Johnson leading the way, doesn't even have to throw a block. And then the jump into the end zone by Ronnie Brown. I mean, this Auburn offensive line has really stepped up in the second half, especially in the fourth quarter. And just a couple highlight rushing drives. Tigers continuing to run the football, and look at the numbers. 179 yards for Brown, over 5 per carry.
Well, one of the reasons many cited that Larry Johnson did not win the Heisman, he had his poorest games against very good competition, and he's not had a great day today against this very good Auburn defense. It's Zach Mills back in at quarterback. They go to their veteran starter, as veteran as he can be as a sophomore, but he's more experienced than Michael Robinson. Brian Johnson, the intended receiver, he's injured, and that would be a huge loss for Penn State without their best receiver in this situation. Travaris Robinson put the hit on him.
That's a helmet-to-helmet hit, and you know, not trying to beat a dead horse, but wouldn't be the strangest thing to happen in a football game for Auburn to come up with a turnover and potentially get another score on a field goal. And you know, like I said, Sean, that 2-point versus 1-point extra point try is really a flip of the coin, and you get coaches that'll go both ways on it.
Johnson back on his feet and running off. They compare him to the Penn State coaches to the best receivers they've had. I think he rates right with the O.J. McDuffies and others who've gone on to the NFL. Just 5 out of 17 passing for Mills. He was replaced earlier in this quarter at quarterback by Michael Robinson, who led them to a field goal. Mills throws it short. Is that a catch and then a fumble? Apparently so. They're not whistling it dead. Now they are. Incomplete pass. An official from all the way across the field by the Auburn sideline said that Paul Jefferson never had possession of it. It's an incomplete pass. Junior Rosegreen knocked it out. And Penn State will have it for a 3rd down and 10.
Go down.
There were 2 officials who were closer to it who were not blowing the play dead. It was an official all the way on the far sideline who whistled this one down.
That's a good call. He did not have possession. That ball was not secured, and that was a proper call. He was trying to secure it, but the ball was too loose behind both hands. I agree with that call 100%.
It was very close.
Tommy Tuberville, however, does not.
3rd down and 10. 2:01 remaining. Mills with a lot of time. Throws a terrible pass, and it's intercepted. Roderick Hood. Runs it back to the 28. He was looking for Bryant Johnson, but Mills has thrown a lot of wobbly balls today, and that was another one. A 27-yard return by Hood. The senior from Columbus, Georgia, former walk-on who's had a terrific career.
And this is a case of Zach Mills just locking on. And what a break on the ball by number 36. You know, great job of securing the football and also securing the football at the end of the run.
Penn State does have 2 timeouts left with 1:49 to go. How about the decision to go back to Mills? Robinson did lead them down the field, but Mills was their starter and certainly is a more experienced player than Robinson. And that's definitely a topic of conversation that Joe Paterno will be engaged in after the game. Brown, the ball carrier, he stayed inbounds, and now Penn State uses a timeout with the ball at the 25. And 2nd down and about 7 upcoming.
When we talked to the offensive coaching staff for Penn State, they said that Zach Mills was unflappable during the year. They used just a dictionary of superlatives to describe his play. But this afternoon, Auburn's defensive game plan has been perfect. They put pressure on Mills. They've shut down Larry Johnson, held him way below his numbers.
And in that situation, you're looking for the better passer of the 2. The time running out, and Mills is the more accomplished passer at this point in their respective careers.
Well, you look back a year ago, he led them on 3 consecutive comebacks down the stretch in the Big Ten Conference schedule, one that gave Paterno the record. And Zach Mills is a guy who's proven as a comeback quarterback, but he has not been able to solve the puzzle this afternoon.
Sunday, February 2nd, from Dick Wolf, the creator of Law & Order, Ed O'Neill, and Ethan Embry. The Badge is back. Dragnet, Sunday, February 2nd on ABC. 1 timeout left now for Penn State. Auburn leads 13-9. 1:37 remaining. 1 first down should salt it away for the Tigers and deal Joe Paterno a rare bowl game loss. He's won 20 bowl games in his 31 appearances prior to today, more than any other coach. Ronnie Brown tackled by Jimmy Kennedy, a gain of 2, and the final timeout used by Joe Paterno.
Penn State's going to have to gamble on the outside, lock on man-to-man, and bring that extra defender up on the line of scrimmage. You have to sell out to stop the run and take your chances if Auburn risks a turnover by putting the ball in the air.
The executive producer of ABC Sports is Howard Katz. Senior producer of ABC Sports, Bob Toms. Coordinating producer of college football, Bob Goodrich. Our producer, Jim Ressler. Director, Dick Buffington. Technical director, Reggie Wade. Thanks as well to associate producer Joe Novello, our associate director Jim Maloney, production manager Jenny McIver, technical manager Roger Williams, assistants to the producer David Fowler and Brian Connors-Mankey, computer stats David Allen, our spotter Chris Helen, statistician Joe Sullivan, and director of production Mark Loomis. Thanks to all the members of our crew. It's been an absolute joy working with these wonderful and talented people all season long.
Well, Sean, there should be close to a minute left if Auburn is stopped here by Penn State. And Tommy Tuberville will have to go through a decision if they are stopped and whether they kick the field goal, and I would think they would. But still time for Penn State to come back down the field and tie up this football game or take the lead depending on what would happen with the field goal. But first things first, Penn State needs a stop right here.
Wallace, the motion man. Brown trying to bounce it outside, and he cannot get outside. Terrific play by Derek Wake, and a loss on the play back to the 25. Now certainly the field goal would help you, but if you're Tommy Tuberville and you've seen all these low kicks from Duval this year into the line that have been blocked, including one today, do you want to risk that?
I think you have to take the shot, and Duval's made a lot of big kicks in his career.
He's not going to do it unless he uses the timeout, because right now it's still the offense on the field.
That's an interesting call, and I can understand Tommy Tuberville having some concern there. If you go for it on 4th down here, you better be safe with the football. And remember, a year ago, Duval won the game against number 1 ranked Florida with a 50-yarder.
He's had a much different year, though, kicking the ball. The receiver in motion, and the official stopped the play. That run by Brown will not stand. I believe it was Marcel Willis who took off from the near side of the field prior to the snap.
They may have to reset the game clock if time came off.
And that's what they're going to talk about. The Penn State sideline hollering about the clock.
Interesting decision here not to punt the ball, and we'll see what happens if they take him. Choose to take him back 5 yards.
Your chances of getting the first down, especially with a running play, are not very good. So why not make it that much tougher from a field position standpoint?
Well, it's not a given that you get that punt off, and I think Tommy Tuberville, you still have the same guy back there, Damon Duval.
Please reset the game clock to 47 seconds.
You have Damon Duval, and if you get a punt block, that's a lot of people feel that's the only way that Penn State can win this game. And I think right now Tommy Tuberville might think that if you run a 4th down play, he'll take his chances with Penn State coming 70 yards down the other way with 47 seconds to go.
They reset the clock to 47 seconds.
I would punt the ball here. I would go with a tight formation, max security and blockers inside, and then try to punt that ball out of bounds inside the 15. And college football, the clock stops on 1st downs. You hit a few passes, it wouldn't be the strangest thing to see a team go the length of the field with this much time still on the clock. Not easy by any stretch, but definitely possible.
Lining up in a run formation with 2 tight ends in the eye behind Campbell. Perhaps just trying to draw them off. No, they snap it. And Brown is tackled. And the ball goes over on down. So they had a chance to kick the ball perhaps down around the 10-yard line and add 20 yards to the drive. Instead, they hand the ball over at the 28. It's doable, certainly, for Penn State. Apparently, he's lost all faith in Duval as both a punter and a place kicker.
Well, Zach Mills is coming into the football game, and as a quarterback right here with 42 seconds on the clock, you're down by 4. You cannot afford to hit a receiver in front of the chains or take a sack. If you hit a receiver in front of the chains, he better be headed out of bounds, and you really don't even want to throw the ball on that shorter route because you need bigger chunks.
4-man rush, and they get pressure on Mills. He's going to run. They'll get a first down, which will stop the clock as they move the chains with 35, 34. They're a little slow in stopping it. Stopped at 34, and Mills has them up quickly.
Great.
Ball marked at the 42.
Great play to start out a clock drive. Not much time came off the clock, and Mills not wasting any time getting his team up to the line of scrimmage.
It was a 15-yard game. Again, a 4-man rush. A short throw, trying to get to the sideline, and they do. That's the tight end, Andrew Richardson. But check that, Matt Kranchik. Deep reserve forced into action because of some injuries to others. Junior from Carlisle, Pennsylvania.
Good news, bad news. The good news, they hit it and got out of bounds. The bad news is that's not enough yardage with under 30 seconds to go. Mills has got to get the ball down the football field.
A touchdown needed. A field goal does them no good. Here's Kranchik again. Out of bounds with a first down. Well, now they're at a field position where they can heave it into the end zone.
Yeah, and I think with 20 seconds to go, you have 2, maybe 3 plays where you can take shots at wide receivers over the middle, just as long as they're at first down depth. Because the minute you hit that, and you also have to be in the huddle, Sean, telling your wide receivers you can't afford any scrambling around after a catch downfield. Get to the ground unless you have a clear lane to the end zone.
2 catches in a row for Kranchik, who did not have a catch in the regular season. Down the middle, it was intended for him again, and it went through his hands at the 22-yard line.
Mills just missed him.
Or Kranchik just missed it, one or the other, but it looked like he was wide open.
Yeah, it was a combination of both. It wasn't the most athletic play that you'll see from a tight end, and he might have been a little late getting his eyes back to the football. Well, let's check the throw here. Yeah, it was behind him a bit and high. You can't expect a tight end to make that play regularly.
Kranchik never has had a catch in his career before this drive. He's a junior in football eligibility. Mills launching it deep and too deep and almost intercepted. Horace Willis was nearest the ball. Bryant Johnson, the intended receiver. 9 seconds left. 3rd down and 10. And time perhaps for 2 heaves toward the end zone.
You have 3 options here. You can run a trick play, a hook and ladder type play. You can try to hit a crossing route and tell your wide receiver to get down right when he makes the catch. Or number 3, you can go ahead and make the Hail Mary throw right here. And I wouldn't be surprised to see them take a shot at the end zone. Has to be perfect execution to go short of the end zone and get a receiver down and keep time on the clock.
3 wide receivers. Mills wrapped up, shoveled it off, and got it off. But time is running out. And time has run out. Sean McHugh, the fullback, took the desperation flip from Mills and fumbled, perhaps intentionally to keep it alive, but it doesn't matter. Auburn wins the Capital One Bowl.
Well, how about that, Sean? Auburn Tigers come up with a great defensive effort, hold Larry Johnson to 72 yards.
And there's Mike with Tommy Tuberville.
Hey, Coach, you're a little wet. Congratulations on a great effort.
Well, it's been a long year. You know, these kids have fought hard. We had up and down season, but to win a game like this against a good football team, you know, really means a lot for the seniors and all for the Auburn, you know, all Auburn family. You know, we've gone through a lot, but, you know, we're getting closer.
Hey, Coach, 20 carries, 72 yards, Larry Johnson. How'd you do it?
Well, you know, we put 8 in the box, and we were going to force him to throw play action, and you know, we just happened to tackle him. He's a great back. You know, there's no 2 ways about it. But again, you know, we're pretty good on defense.
Hey, great effort, Coach, and congratulations. Good luck next year.
Thank you.
Got it.
So Auburn, with a very young team, looks toward a bright future. They finished this season at 9-4, the same record for Penn State. Once again, the final score: Auburn 13 and Penn State 9. Stay tuned for the Built Ford Tough pregame report, followed by the Rose Bowl game, presented by PlayStation 2. ABC Sports is online at ESPN.com. Keyword ABC Sports. So long from Orlando. Let's send you back to John Saunders and Terry Bowden back in Times Square Stadium.